It had been a slow day. I was sitting at my desk going through my little black book. Edna Carlisle, Warden Road, Bellevue Hill. Beautiful girl, Edna. Auburn hair, green-gray eyes. And I put a cross through her name. She married a grazier a few days before. Wilma Marshall. Now, there was a dame. Terrigal was a little too far to travel. Sally Bishop. Uh-huh. Blonde with brown eyes, a beauty mark on her cheek. Not too many brains, but who wants an intellectual conversation when it's cold outside? I reached for the phone. It happens every time. It's like lighting a cigarette when you're fishing. Larry Kent, Private Investigations.
Mr. Kent, this is an admirer of yours.
Well, if you're trying to sell me something...
Oh, no. In fact, I have a very interesting case for you.
Well, couldn't you come to my office?
I'm sorry, no.
What's your name?
Sorry, I can't tell you that either.
Well, what can you tell me?
This. How would you like to earn £500?
What do I have to do?
Find a murderer.
Who's he killed?
Well, the murder hasn't taken place yet.
Look, Buster, I've had 8 hilarious gags pulled on me during the past week. I'm getting a little tired of it. So go and tell the character who put you onto this that he can...
Oh, hold on, please, Mr. Kent. I don't blame you for being dubious, but you'll see very soon that I'm serious. If you'll just hear me out.
Well, make it fast.
A person will be murdered soon with a .28 caliber bullet.
28 caliber?
Yes. There is only one gun made for that size bullet. It's an Italian pistol, the Marcinetti. So, when you discover that a murder has been committed with a .28 caliber bullet, you'll know I'm not joking.
You're a real card. Please go on.
The £500 will be yours when and if you solve the murder. Here are some clues. Even if you knew my name, you would not find it in the telephone directory, though I'm using my own phone. Second clue, I'm not as I sound. Good day, Mr. Kent.
Character. I figured it was a drunk with a queer sense of humor or a gag pulled by my actor or newspaper friends. I forgot about it. But next morning, I saw that 2 articles had been pushed beneath my apartment door. One was an envelope. A stack of 10-pound notes and a typewritten message that went, "This is to show I am not joking. 100 pounds to cover expenses. 500 more when and if you name the murderer. Your admirer." I had a good look at the tenors. They were real. Then I unfolded the newspaper. The headline had been circled with a heavy black pencil. It went, "SP bookmaker murdered." There wasn't much to the story. The SP man was George Dunn. He'd been shot during the night. There was no mention of the caliber bullet. Inspector Walter Dermott was in charge of inquiries, so a trip to headquarters.
Larry Kent. Oh, no. What do you want?
Dermott was his usual sweet self.
I said, what do you want?
Just a little courtesy.
Oh. Would you recognize it if you got it?
From a cop? I don't know.
Oh, smart.
Look, Inspector, why don't we get along, huh?
Well, we could, Kent. You know, if you got yourself a plane ticket to the States, I'd be right there at Mascot.
Yeah, to make sure that I went.
Yeah. Now, what do you want? Make it quick.
What's going on this bookmaker case?
I am now giving an imitation of the Sphinx. Why do you want to know, Kent?
Murders always interest me.
I know one that would delight me.
You think you'll get the killer?
We usually do.
Well, you shouldn't have much trouble finding this one.
What makes you say that?
Well, it's not everybody who owns a .28 caliber pistol.
Who told you it was a 28, Kent? I'll have him directing traffic on Market Street. I'll break...
Thanks, Inspector. Well, there it was. Just like my screwball friend had told me over the phone. I went to the office, thought about the so-called clues he'd given me. Neither was worth a darn. Larry Kent, private investigation.
Good day, Mr. Kent. You recognize my voice, don't you?
Yeah. Using a payphone now, huh?
Yes. Not very far from your office. Well, are you satisfied that I wasn't joking?
Yeah. But tell me something.
Gladly.
Did you kill George Dunn?
What do you think?
Well, I figure you must have. After all, you gave me the advance information.
You could be very, very wrong. Here's another clue. Watch out for a dark woman. I assume you're going to follow the case.
Yeah.
Good.
By the way, thanks for the £100.
Not at all.
Will I be hearing from you again?
You never know. Goodbye, Mr. Kent.
I did some checking all that day. Here's what I found out. The dead guy had no relatives, no close male friends who could tell me anything about him, but there were rumors that he'd cleaned up a fortune as an SP man. George Dunn had been in his 50s, fat and bald. One piece of information was that he'd been friendly with a pretty brunette, which made me think of my screwball friend's third clue. Watch out for a dark woman. I got Dunn's address, waited till after the funeral, then I went to his apartment in Rose Bay, armed with skeleton keys. But just for the heck of it, I pressed the door buzzer. I heard soft steps inside the apartment, and then...
Yes?
The dame in the doorway was curvaceous, pretty, and a very dark brunette.
What is it?
I didn't expect to find anybody here. This apartment was George Dunn's, wasn't it?
I'm Carla Dunn, his cousin.
Oh. Can I have a talk with you?
Who are you and what do you want?
My name's Larry Kent. I'm a private investigator. I've been hired to look into your cousin's murder.
Who hired you?
Well, I'm not supposed to give away information like that. You see, I'm a very private investigator. You going to let me come in?
Why not? I have nothing to hide.
Thanks.
I'm afraid there's not much I can tell you that'll help, Mr. Kent.
Well, I think there is. First off, you can tell me why you call yourself his cousin.
Because I thought it would save a lot of unnecessary explaining.
You surprised me. That was a nice, quick answer. What are you doing here in the apartment?
If you'll come into the living room, I'll tell you.
Okay.
You see, I was in Melbourne when I heard...
Don't try anything.
Keep him covered, Roger.
Well. Walked right into him. My, what a mess you've made of the living room. Looking for something?
Roger, this is Larry Kent, a private detective.
Charmed.
Just don't make any kind of move, that's all.
Roger was tall and slim. He had a good tailor. His hair was black and wavy. His face was narrow. The skin as smooth and hairless as a baby's. His eyes were big and clear. He was, all in all, a very cute boy. But he was shaking a little, and he didn't seem at home with a gun in his hand.
You'll now tell us why you've come here, Mr. Kent.
Well, I figured I might find something that would help me with my investigation.
And how did you expect to get in?
Skeleton keys. So you were George Dunn's girlfriend, huh? And now you and Pretty Boy here are looking for George's dough.
He knows too much, Carla.
He was just guessing.
I see it was a pretty good guess.
What are we going to do with him?
You could use that gun, Roger.
Why don't you, Pretty Boy?
Maybe I will.
I don't think so. You know what I really think? I figure that if I turn my back and walk out of here, you two will let me go.
Don't be too sure of that.
You wouldn't kill me. The shot would be heard. Murder's a tough rap.
Stay right there.
So long.
All right.
Roger, don't.
I walked out of there. On the sidewalk, I wiped my forehead. Roger had been holding a .32. George Dunn had been killed with a .28 from a Mansonetti pistol. I had a pretty clear picture with some pieces left out of what was going on. Carla had been playing games with George Dunn, but had been holding on to Roger on the side. Carla had told Roger not to shoot. Why? Well, there were two answers. One, she didn't want murder, which suggested that she hadn't knocked off Dunn. Two, she wanted to learn more about me. So I was expecting a visit. And I was right. It was 10:15 p.m. in my apartment.
Hello.
Hi. Alone?
Mm-hmm.
Come in.
Thank you.
Want me to take your coat?
Please.
When I'd met Carla at Dunn's apartment, she had said she had nothing to hide. How wrong she was. Her skin was tan. Her dress was white. Slim waist, long legs, curves and slopes. A lovely package of tan and white, with tan predominating.
Wondering why I'm here?
Well, maybe I'll start wondering in a minute, but right now the view has my attention.
I was hoping you'd approve of me.
Why?
It makes it so much easier for us to do business.
Business?
Yes.
I'm listening.
Who hired you to investigate George's murder?
Why?
Well, it's important that I know.
Is it going to do me any good if I tell you?
Well, it's going to do you a lot of harm if you don't.
She moved fast. Her purse opened. Her right hand pulled a gun out. There was a silencer at the end of it.
This time, Mr. Kent, I won't be afraid of attracting attention.
I thought you were a little on my side, Carla.
And what made you think that?
Well, you told Roger not to shoot me.
Only because his gun wasn't equipped with a silencer. This one is.
Yes, but you're not the murdering type.
There's so much in this that even murder is worthwhile.
Why go that far when you don't have to?
Well, I don't want to. But if I must...
Put the gun away. In the first place, it doesn't scare me. In the second place, there are better ways to do business.
For instance?
Well, this.
Oh, my wrist.
And don't bend for the gun, honey, or I'll give you a real hard spanking.
Oh, my wrist.
I'll kiss it for you.
Oh, you...
No nasty words. I'll take the gun. That's a nice little toy. But, look, you have the safety catch on.
All right. So I didn't mean to use the gun. If you look further, you'll see it isn't even loaded.
It isn't. You took an awful chance, you know.
I didn't think you'd shoot it out with a lady.
Yeah, but there was a chance I might have figured you weren't a lady. How much dough is in this, Carla?
Plenty.
Enough for me to get a cut?
Keep talking.
Well, I've got some information that, added to information you might have, could prove to be important.
All right. What is it?
I'm in the driver's seat.
I wonder how much you do know.
Well, you'll find out by answering some questions about George Dunn's past.
You could be after the money, too. How do I know I can trust you?
Oh, look how far apart my eyes are.
You didn't go to the apartment just for the fun of it.
I told you I was looking for clues that'd help me find Dunn's murderer.
And your client?
Well, that's private for the time being. You talk, I talk.
I'm not sure I can trust you.
Well, how about me? For instance, there's Roger. Where does he come into it?
Roger means nothing.
He was ready to protect you with a gun.
I doubt if he'd have fired.
But you told him not to fire.
That was just insurance. He was shaking so much it was possible he would have pulled the trigger.
He's crazy about you, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
Yeah. I don't blame him.
It's not a two-way affair.
Oh. Yeah, he was just a change from George Dunn, is that it?
It's a crude way of putting it, but yes.
You're a very naughty girl, Carla.
Well, a girl has to look after herself. Roger's a handsome man, dances well, and in some ways he's fun. George was fat and ugly.
But he had dough.
As I said, a girl has to look after herself. And a girl could do a lot worse than you.
Well, it won't work, honey.
We could make it work, Larry. Roger's not my type. I was just marking time with him, using him.
And you'd be willing to dump him?
Yes. You know what I mean, don't you?
You and me, huh?
Yeah. We could get along. I assure you. I'd say that was a very satisfactory sample, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Then let's go into it together. Tell me what you were doing in this thing, and then I'll tell you all I know.
Put it around the other way.
But I'm not sure of you.
And vice versa. You could take my information and then spin a tall yarn. So, you first, huh?
I'll have to think about it.
Okay. Go to it.
Not here. I'll meet you at the Angel Club. Say, 1 a.m. I want to walk around and think it out.
Okay, Carla.
1 a.m. at the Angel Club.
I'll be there. I was there at 10 minutes to 1. The Angel Club is small and pricey. The clientele is a mixed lot, but the guys who go there have one thing in common. They've got dough. The dames have one thing in common, too. Each has a lot of curves and an angle. The head waiter took my 2 notes, led me to a table just big enough for a lamp, a bottle of scotch, and a glass. I sat there for quite a while. Ten after 1. Still no Carla. She'd been putting on an act just to get out of my apartment.
Hello.
She was a blonde, and she was dressed for a kill. Ice cream complexion, blue eyes, a silhouette, like an elegant bass fiddle.
You're Larry Kent, aren't you?
That's right.
Carla gave a good description of you. She wasn't exaggerating either.
Carla? Who's Carla?
Careful sort of fellow, aren't you? Just as well, I suppose. Carla sent me here to get you.
Why didn't she come herself?
It's up to her to tell you that. My job is to take you to her.
Where is she?
Epping. Do you have a car?
Yeah.
Then let's go, shall we?
We went. The blonde's name was Sylvia. She sat very close all the way to Epping.
It's the house on the corner.
Right.
You know, I'm sorry we're here. You should have driven slower.
You should have given me a cue.
Next time, maybe. Unless Carla has ideas of a monopoly.
We got out. Walked across the street. There's a big house, 2-storied. A few lights were burning on the ground floor.
Carla's not here yet. Her car isn't on the driveway, which means we can have a drink together.
That'll be cozy.
I've got the key in my purse. Here it is.
I'll take it.
On top of everything else, you're a gentleman.
After you.
Thank you.
She brushed past me. I followed her in.
Scotch?
Yeah. Twice in the same glass.
Coming up.
I lit a cigarette. It It was a big, expensively furnished room with 5 doors leading off. I sat on the arm of a chair and looked at Sylvia as she finished making the drinks. She came back, negotiating the distance with a sort of slow samba.
Here we are. Here's to... You make the toast, honey.
Okay. Here's to, the knockout drops you slipped into this scotch. You can have it, sweetheart. And I'll have you.
Let me go!
As the door in front of us opened, I pulled Sylvia to me with my left hand and held onto it tight. In my other hand was my .38. The guy in the doorway held a thin-barrel gun, a .28 caliber Mansonetti.
It appears I'm late.
Yeah. You shoot, and you hit her.
Let me... Oh!
And the harder you kick, honey, the tighter I squeeze.
Louis, don't shoot! Please, Louis!
You needn't worry, my dear. I won't. Well, Mr. Kent, I underestimated you.
You mean you overestimated yourself? Drop the gun.
I think not.
If you don't, I'll let you have it. You wouldn't want to have to shoot Sylvia, would you?
You've appealed to my better nature.
Okay, sweetheart. Sit down and keep your mouth shut.
Why, you dirty...
Do as he says, Sylvia. Mr. Kent and I wish to talk.
I'll say we do. You're the guy who sent me the £100, aren't you?
But I don't sound like him, do I? Really, how stupid of me. Yes, I hired your services, Mr. Kent. Listen as my voice changes.
I hired your services in the most unorthodox manner, Mr. Kent.
Rather a good trick, isn't it? You see, I was once an actor. Louis Lang is my name.
Where's Carla?
Ah, a most interesting story, that. You see, I encountered Carla as she left your flat earlier this evening. I rented a furnished flat directly across from you, by the way, so that I could watch you. I took Carla into my flat, at gunpoint, I must add. You would never guess who was also in my flat.
I'll bite.
The very handsome boy, Roger. You never know, do you?
How come he was there?
It's very simple. He followed Carla to your place. He then stood near your door and heard enough to make him very, very angry. I stopped him outside, at gunpoint, but after a talk I put the gun away. You see, Roger and I decided to do business together. Very quickly we learned from Carla that you were to meet her at the Angel Club. I sent Sylvia in her place. Roger was so angry. It's strange what thwarted love will do to a man. Poor Carla.
He killed her?
Yes. Well, can you guess the rest, Mr. Kent?
I can guess this much. You've got George Dunn's dough. You killed him.
Yes. But you don't know anything else, do you? Very well, I'll clear it up for you. George Dunn was my client. I'm a solicitor, by the way. You know how solicitors learn things about their clients, don't you? Well, I learned he had a fortune in cash. I intended to get it and leave the country. But then, income tax trouble. The authorities said it would take 4 or 5 days to clear me. That was most upsetting. You see, Carla and George were rather close, and I wanted to do the job while she was in Melbourne. However, she was coming back the next day, and there was a chance that she would guess. I took the money and did away with George. So I gave her you.
And now you're stuck with me.
You're forgetting something, aren't you, Mr. Kent?
There was a smile on his thin lips, a triumphant smile. There was also a flicker of his eyes, a flicker that made me turn, throw myself to the side. The bullet sang over my head. Roger stood near a door, smoking gun in his hand. He wasn't a pretty boy anymore. His face was an ugly mask of hate. I put a bullet right through the mask.
Louis!
I rolled. Louis Lang was on his hands and knees, reaching for the pistol.
Quick, Louis!
He wasn't nearly quick enough, Sylvia. The next day, Sylvia was behind bars, Carla, Roger, and Lang were in the morgue, and I was in my office, looking through my little black book. A tough case always makes me think of a warm, cuddly, good-natured dame. Come to think of it, so does everything else. Good night. One minute I was just walking along. The next, I was hitting the sidewalk. I rolled and twisted my way into Rose Street. None too soon. I'd seen one of the gun flashes from the shadows of the GPO across Pitt Street. Holding my gun ready, I waited. There'd been only one or two people around, but there weren't any around anymore. A few minutes passed. When nothing happened, I went up Rose Street, turned into Castle Ray Street, grabbed a cab, went home. Why had someone taken a few shots at me? I hadn't the slightest idea. When I got home, I went to work on the scotch bottle. After a few minutes... Who is it?
Connors.
Who? Connors?
Sergeant Alf Connors.
Oh. Just a minute, Sarge.
Hello, Kent.
Hi, Sarge. Well, what have I done this time?
Nothing.
Well, how come you're visiting me at almost 1 in the morning?
It was sort of a social call.
Yeah? Well, come in.
Thanks.
I got you on the night shift, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. Having yourself a little drinking session, eh?
Oh, doctor's orders, Sarge. Can I pour you one?
I'm on duty.
I've got some chlorophyll tablets.
No, thanks.
Sit down.
Yeah, I think I will.
What's new at the CIB?
Nothing much. Except for an interesting report we got from one of our plainclothesmen,
Oh?
Slim Grogan. He was at Central Railway at 10 o'clock tonight.
Knowing you as well as I do, Connors,
Yeah.
I'd say that Slim Grogan has something to do with your visit.
If I had a cigar, I'd hand it to you.
What's up?
Well, it could be trouble.
For...
You.
Uh-huh. What kind of trouble?
Remember J. Thomas?
Oh, now, there's one character I'll never forget.
He's loose.
Here, in Sydney?
Yeah, that's right.
Ah, that explains it.
Explains what?
3 shots were fired at me tonight, Connors.
Where?
In the city. I didn't see who did it.
Mm-hmm. Thomas didn't waste any time.
Well, let's get to what you were telling me about.
Yeah, okay. Well, Slim Grogan saw J. Thomas leaving a train at Central. There were 2 other blokes with him.
Smith and Williams?
Uh-huh. Joe Smith, Pete Williams.
Yeah, the terrible trio.
Never expected to see them again, did you?
I hadn't. J. Thomas had been running Sly Grog in Sydney long before the days of 10 o'clock closing. He wasn't small time. He'd reached the top by getting rid of most of his competition. Some were bashed, others looked for new rackets when Smith or Williams showed a gun. Few were murdered, and 1 or 2 disappeared completely. I'd worked against Thomas and his 2 meatballs, Smith and Williams. Finally, I'd been able to get evidence to send him to jail. But manslaughter was the best the law could do, and Thomas was sent up for it. That was 8 years ago. Smith and Williams, with no one around to give them orders, left Sydney.
And now the 3 of them are back, Kent.
For one reason. To get me.
Too bad we can't prove that.
Shots tonight proved it.
Ah, not the way I mean. If I arrested Thomas, his solicitor would have him out in 4 hours.
Yeah, I know.
Well, the best I can offer you is police protection.
No thanks.
But I tell you,
Cops
Kent,
make me nervous. But thanks for the tip.
watch yourself, Kent.
Yeah.
If you want us to help you,
I'll
well,
send you a telegram.
it's your funeral. So long, Kent.
I was up at the usual time the next morning. It was a slow day at the office. Made a court appearance at 3, checked again at the office, and had a few drinks. Then went to my favorite cafe for dinner.
You don't mind if I share your table, do you?
Why, no, not at all.
Thank you, Mr. Kent.
I must be getting famous.
I saw your photograph in Personality magazine.
Well, I didn't see yours anywhere, but I should have. Full length.
Thank you.
Oh, not me, not me. You want to thank Mother Nature. Incidentally, what's your name?
Gloria. Gloria Stanton.
Gloria, huh? What are you doing after dinner?
Well, I hadn't thought about it.
Well, then you're not tied up,
No?
but now?
Yes.
And that was it. Fast and to the point. We went to Club 45, had a heck of a night. It was 4 in the morning when I took her home. She lived in a Maruba apartment building.
I'd ask you in, but...
Oh, that's okay, Gloria.
Oh, it's been a wonderful night.
There'll be others.
I...
Yeah.
Larry... Larry,
Well, what are you trying to say?
I'm going to explain how this started.
You don't have to. I think I know.
What?
You were hired to take me out. And there's the guy who hired you, at the end of the hall.
Larry, he's got a gun.
So have I. Down! There's a stab of flame from the end of the hall. A bullet whistled by. I pressed the trigger. The guy twisted around, tried to lift his gun again. There was only one thing I could do.
Larry.
I'm okay. The guy was lying on his stomach. I put my toe under him, rolled him over. He was Joe Smith. 1 down, 2 to go.
And so that's it, huh?
That's it, Connors.
Oh, I was a fool. He told me he had a bet with a friend. A bet that I couldn't get Larry to take me out.
I wish I could have got a few hundred of that.
Coming from Sergeant Connors, Gloria, that's a compliment.
The fellow outside was the only one you saw?
Yes.
But we know who the other 2 are, don't we, Sarge?
Sure. But if we arrest, they'd still be out inside 4 hours.
Yeah. So, what do we do?
If you're smart, you'll accept my offer of police protection.
And lose my professional standing?
I figured you wouldn't be smart. Well, there's nothing more I can do.
Will you be wanting me, Sergeant?
Yeah. Don't leave town.
All right.
You can give me a lift home if you don't mind, Sarge.
Okay.
Larry.
It's all right, Gloria.
Oh, Larry, I'm so sorry about
Forget it.
this. Will I be seeing you again?
Sure. Get some sleep. I'll give you a ring, probably tomorrow.
All right, Larry.
I went home and slept with my .38 beneath the pillow. Nothing happened the next day except that Gloria and I went out again. During the week that followed, I took her out a few times. We got to know one another pretty well.
Larry. Larry.
Yeah. Nice girl, Gloria. I didn't describe it, did I? She had dark brown hair that was alive with red glints, small nose, big eyes, wide, generous lips. Her figure? Look at Venus de Milo, had arms, and make some general improvements all over, and that'll give you an idea. But only an idea. It was in the early hours of the morning. I'd garaged my car, was walking towards the steps of my apartment building.
Hello, Kent.
What?
Don't go for your gun, dear boy. Mr. Williams and I are both holding revolvers.
Oh, hello, Thomas. It's been a long time.
Too long, dear boy. I've been so looking forward to this.
Thomas and his pet gorilla, Pete Williams, stepped from the shadows. Williams was big and ugly with a smashed face. J. Thomas was tall, thin, scholarly. His gold glasses glinted in the light of a street lamp. His face was pinched and prison gray. He looked nothing like what he was. A cold-blooded killer.
You had a spot of luck with Mr. Smith, didn't you?
He's not gonna be so lucky this time.
Quite, Mr. Williams. Quite.
Come on, let's get it over with.
Please, dear boy. Not so impetuous. Mr. Smith was impetuous, and, alas, he's dead.
Yeah, but...
I was 8 years in prison, remember, dear boy? After 8 years, I deserve a few moments, don't I? What do you think, Mr. Kent?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, you can talk for hours.
No doubt. No doubt. But I'm afraid we can't spare all that time. Oh, you've no idea what a delicious moment this is. How I've looked forward to it. Dreamed of it.
Let's put a couple of slugs in him and get out of here.
I am making the decisions, Mr. Williams. As I've instructed you so many times in the past, you are not to question my actions. Understand?
Yeah, that's understood, Mr. Thomas.
Fine.
Look, why don't you boys come upstairs and we'll have a nice cup of tea or something?
Oh, he's so amusing. Isn't he, Mr. Williams? Amusing because he has only a few seconds in which to live, in which to regret having investigated me 8 years ago.
There was only one thing to do. Go for my gun and hope to get a few shots in before they burn me down.
Aim low, Mr. Williams.
I went into action, took a dive.
Kill him! Kill him, man!
I rolled on the sidewalk and into the gutter as the slugs whistled all around me. I jerked my gun out, though it was too late. I wondered why I didn't feel the burn of bullets. Then an amazing sight met my eyes. Williams, bent low, was doing a staggering little dance along the curbstone. Thomas was nowhere to be seen.
Into the lane after him.
It was Connors. Sergeant Connors.
Kent,
I was never so glad to see a cop.
was that Thomas who got away?
Yeah.
Oh.
All right, everybody, get out of the way. This is police business.
I'll help you up, Kent. Come on.
Thanks, Connors.
Yeah.
I never thought I'd say this to a cop, but I love you. Connors, of course, had a tail on me all the time. His shadowers were pretty good. I'd never spotted them. Well, J. Thomas made a clean getaway. An alarm went out for him. One of the newspapers even posted a reward. A couple of weeks passed, and he was still at large.
We're sure he's still in the city, Kent. We've had every exit blocked.
Yeah, but you can't keep that up forever.
No. That's why I asked you to come here. We're badly understaffed, so we'll have to more or less drop the search for Thomas.
No, it suits me.
Just watch yourself.
I said yeah. That night.
Gloria here, Larry.
Well, hello.
You've been neglecting me. I haven't seen you for 2 days.
I was going to ring you in the morning.
I was afraid you may have met somebody else.
Next time you start thinking like that, you just have a look in the mirror.
You always say the right thing, don't you?
With you, honey, the dialogue is easy.
Then you do like me a little bit?
Oh, more than a little.
Tell me, Larry.
Well, I think you're terrific.
Oh, can't you say more than that?
You just leave me speechless. What do you say we go night clubbing tomorrow, huh?
Oh, I've got a much better idea. Tomorrow's Friday, and I know a wonderful boarding house at Barrel.
Huh?
I've been there before. They always give me the same room in the south wing. I'm sure they'll have a nice room for you. In the north wing?
Oh. Well, you're on.
Shall I make the arrangement?
Yeah, what time will I pick you up tomorrow?
Oh, say about 6 at my flat?
Right.
Good night, Larry.
At 9 the next night, we were at the boarding house. It was the off-season, but there was still a good crowd. We chewed the fat for a couple of hours, had some drinks, dances, and hit the hay about midnight. At 7 in the morning... Oh, who is it?
Come on, sleepyhead. Get up for breakfast, and we'll try our hand at archery.
Archery?
Yes. They're having a competition later in the day.
Oh, all right. Yeah, I'll be out in a couple of minutes.
Right. I'll be waiting in the dining room.
I used the electric razor, dressed, and joined Gloria. No one else was in the dining room.
I thought we'd get an early start.
I haven't been up this early for breakfast since the army.
It'll do you good.
Yeah? Hey, I didn't know you were the athletic type.
Oh, yes. I was a champion archer at Prue's for 2 consecutive years.
Prue's, huh? What, may I ask, is Prue's?
A finishing school.
Oh.
Do you know how to use the bow and arrow?
Hey, a little. I used to go to a place in the States called the Palisades Amusement Park. Sort of a glorified Luna Park on the Jersey side at the top of the Palisades. They had an archery stall, 2 bullseyes out of 3, and you got a Cupid doll.
And did you win any Cupid dolls?
Yeah, couple.
Oh, well, in that case, I'll enter our names in the pairs. Oh, here comes our breakfast.
We ate, and then we got arrows and bows from the old dame who ran the boarding house. There was a pretty good archery range set up outside.
I challenge you to a tournament.
Okay.
That center target, 3 arrows each.
Uh-huh. If I win, what do I win?
A kiss,
Oh, how about twice in a row?
kiss and a hug.
Mm-hmm. 3 times in a row?
Don't get ahead of yourself.
We started firing the arrows. Nice shot. Almost a bullseye.
Your turn. Bullseye.
Beat that one.
You watch me.
Very, very nice. I'll see if I can put one right alongside.
You must have spent a lot of time at that archery stall.
It was run by a couple of sisters. Both of them redheads.
Oh. I begin to understand.
It's your shot. Good. That's nice shooting. I'll have to score another bull to win.
Well, don't miss, Larry. I'm looking forward to presenting the prize.
Take it easy. You make me nervous. Here goes.
Congratulations.
Well, never mind about the congratulations. Come on. Let's make with the prize-giving ceremony, huh?
With pleasure. This is a nice game. I win even when I lose.
Things are getting interesting. Let's continue the competition,
All right. Get the arrows.
I reached out to pull an arrow from the target, but there were now 7 arrows in the target.
Larry, over there.
About 50 feet away, standing beside a tree, was J. Thomas. He was fixing an arrow to the string of a heavy longbow. I jerked his arrow from the target. It had a wicked-looking hunting point. He drew the bow just as I stepped behind the target. I fixed the arrow to my bowstring, stepped clear of the target, let go. My arrow got him on the left side. He turned and ran into the trees. I pulled a few arrows from the target.
Larry!
I'm going after him. Call the cops. His trail wasn't too hard to follow. He was bleeding pretty badly. I finally caught up to him in a little gully. He was sitting with his back against a rock. He still had the bow, but no arrows.
Well, looks as though you win, dear boy.
Yeah. Just a minute, let me take a look at that. Yeah, you hit pretty badly.
Yes. I didn't think you knew how to use a bow.
Well, if you think you can make it, I'll take you back and get a doctor. Huh?
No. I'd rather stay here. It was only good to move me. I know I'm finished. Dear boy. It's only a matter of time. Not very much time.
You're taking this in a very sportsmanlike way.
Oh, fellow. What else can I do? You see...
There was a second arrow in his side. I turned. Gloria stood behind me.
Larry, are you all right?
Sure, I'm all right. What did you hit him for?
I don't know. I saw him there, and I was afraid for you.
No, honey. You were afraid for yourself.
Larry.
You were working for Thomas from the beginning. Now, you were smart, real smart.
Don't talk like that, Larry.
When Joe Smith was waiting for me in your hallway, you started to give yourself an alibi.
No.
Yes, you did. Just in case I wasn't killed.
But it's nonsense you're talking. It's not right, Larry.
The second try at knocking me off came on another night when I took you out.
Larry, you couldn't. You don't really believe that.
Well, if it's not true, how come Thomas knew I'd be here?
Well, I don't know. Perhaps he followed us. You've got to believe me. Larry, I never saw this man before.
That's a lie.
Jay,
Huh? Let's see you act yourself out of this one, honey.
She's a very excellent actress, Mr. Kent.
How much were you paying her?
Oh, I can assure you, dear boy, a good deal.
you can't prove any of that.
I knew her before I went to jail. She was only 17.
I'll bet she was a perfect decoy for you.
Oh, yes. Perfect, dear boy. Such an innocent, such a beautiful face. Men couldn't resist her.
That's right. Go on, keep talking. Every time you open your mouth, it's killing you a little more. And when you're dead, nothing can be proved.
You and I are going back to the house, Gloria. We're going to get a doctor.
Don't you see? It'll be too late. He'll be dead.
Alas, Dear boy. She's right, you know.
See, Larry? You won't be able to prove a thing.
Maybe so. We're still going back.
Whatever you say.
Come on.
Of course. Goodbye, Jay.
J. Thomas had pulled the target arrow from his side. The arrow Gloria had fired. Still with his back against the rock, he pulled the bow with the last of his strength.
No. No.
All she had to do was move, but she was frozen there.
Jay!
I took one look. She was beyond help.
Never trust a woman. Mr. Carew.
Maybe you've got something there, Thomas. But not all dames are like Gloria. No, some are soft and cuddly. The only arrows you have to worry about where they're concerned are fired by the little guy named Cupid. And when he hits you, good night. I was driving through the city, being careful not to hit any of the sheep. At St. James, of course, I had to stop to let a whole flock go by. While I was waiting... Hey!
Hello, Sport. Oh, these seat cushions ain't comfortable.
My sudden passenger was that celebrated cab, truck, tram, and bus jumper, Lucy Kelso. She wore an old army coat, army shoes, a sun visor. She wore her hair... Well...
All right, Sport, come on, move your way through the mob, blow the horn. All right, if you won't...
Hey, stop that. Hey, get away from that horn. Do you want to get me pinched?
Move aside, Mugs, let us through! Come on, get this heap out of here, unless you want me to shift those gears for you.
Okay.
That's better.
Which way are you going, Lucy?
Home.
Well, if home's on the way, I'll drop you there.
You're coming in with me.
Look, you've got yourself a ride. Fine. Now let it go at that. Don't force me to hand you over to a cop.
Cop? I know all the cops. All the magistrates, too. Nice blokes. But I hear you don't get along very well with them. Kent?
Well, fame at last.
I know who you are, and I've been waiting to see you. I have business with you, Kent. Important business.
Well, you sound almost...
Normal? Sure. But I really am. Normal businesswoman. Now take me home and I'll tell you all about it. Turn left at the next corner.
And so, 10 minutes later, I was sitting in a comfortable chair in a Paddington apartment.
Here's your drink.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Yeah, good luck.
Now, you're surprised, aren't you?
Flabbergasted.
Yeah, I should have gone on the stage.
Yeah, from what I've seen so far, you'd have been a great actress.
I am a great actress. During the past 20 years, I've established a character that's known to everybody in Australia, even overseas.
Well, I don't get it.
Well, it started as a joke. I wanted to see how far I could get by dropping all conventions. Then I began having so much fun that I kept it up. After a while, people believed in me as a mad character. By then, you won't believe this, but I just couldn't let them down.
You couldn't let them down?
They believe in me. It makes them happy to talk about me, to read about me in the newspapers.
How about the taxi drivers?
Oh, they're good blokes. They complain when I get into their cabs, but later on they brag about it to their mates.
And the tram conductors?
Oh, with all the things they've got to contend with, Kent, I'm no trouble at all. The fact is, most tram conductors have a real good sense of humor.
And the magistrates you appeared before?
Oh, good blokes, mainly. A little stiff sometimes, though. Like they're afraid to laugh, you know. Another drink?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, best of scotch, too.
The best of everything, Kent. You should see some of the clothes I have in that wardrobe.
Well, do you ever get a chance to wear them?
Oh, yes. I take a holiday twice a year. Lucy Kelso just disappears. But a Mrs. John Ralston, wealthy widow, turns up at Surfers Paradise or Tasmania or New Zealand. Last year I went to England. Had a wonderful time. Met the nicest man. Here's your drink.
Thanks. Well, to the great impersonation. May it go on forever.
That's why I brought you here, Kent. To help me keep it going.
Oh?
Somebody knows about me. Here, a letter I received.
To Lucy Kelso. You're a fake, and I know it. Get 5,000 in cash together, or I'll let the newspapers know about your racket. You will hear from me again. No signature. Looks like a man's handwriting.
Yes, he's probably working with her.
Her?
Millie Marshall, my downstairs neighbor. More than once I've caught her looking through the keyhole. The other day things were disarranged in here as though someone had been looking around.
I see. Yeah, that lock wouldn't be too hard to open. So you suspect this Miss Marshall, huh?
I don't only suspect her. I know she's in it.
Yeah, you got any proof?
Just the look she gives me. Oh, if you mean courtroom proof, I don't want any of that. If this ever gets into court, I'm finished. Look, please believe me, Mr. Kent. I'm not worried about myself. I could always get along. A man in England, for instance, he wanted to marry me.
Well, why didn't you marry?
Well, it's hard to explain it. I give people some laughs. They see me and, well, suddenly some spice is added to their lives. Well, this is a hard life, and laughs are important. That's the only reason I can give you for keeping it up.
I think I understand. What do you want me to do?
Help me by investigating Millie Marshall.
Well, what does she look like?
Well, I suppose you'd call her pretty.
Is she smart? Do you think I could tail her without being spotted?
That's the trouble. She's intelligent. She knows what's going on, especially in the underworld. She'd probably recognize you as Larry Kent.
Well, this is going to be an expensive assignment, Lucy.
Yep, 150 in cash.
Thanks.
Will that be enough?
Yeah, it'll do fine.
Good.
For the time being.
Oh.
I left. Later, I was sitting on a rickety chair in a dim apartment.
Yeah, so you want me to follow a Sheila named Millie Marshall, eh?
The guy was Sammy the Sneak, a skinny little weasel who specialized in tail jobs.
Well, you come to the right bloke, like, Kent. You want somebody watched? Sammy's the boy to watch him, you know me.
Yeah. Well, you've got her name and address. That should be enough for you.
Well, not quite,
No, here.
Fiver. Well, look at, it's like this. Look, I'm a highly specialized, expert, Kent. Yeah, you know, things have changed lately, pensions, basic wage have gone up, and, doctor's fees, and well, look, it's like this, and keeping with the upward general spiral,
Here, another $5. The entertainment's worth it. I'll expect a report at 10 tonight. I'll be in my apartment.
Yeah, right, I can't, you know me.
And stay off the rum.
While I'm working, you know me, Kent.
Yeah, stay off.
Right, all right, I'll give you my solemn word. You'll be hearing from me at 10 sharp.
My wristwatch said 10 after 10.
Kenny, all night. Look, Kenny, all night. This is Sammy the Snake, yeah.
Oh. Where are you?
I am now at the Camellia Club. Yeah.
How many rums have you had?
Oh, one or two, kid, one or two. Yeah,
Where's Millie Marshall?
Well, now, it's like this. Am I a sales job expert or am I? If it was true a word said, never in all of my experiences anybody come along to...
Get to the point, you little weasel. Out with it. What happened to Millie Marshall?
She is now sharing a table with me.
What?
Best way to find out about her, ain't it? Yeah. Well, we've been having a nice long talk, you know,
What have you told her about me?
About you? I don't think so.
Very soon. I walked across the dance floor of the Camellia Club, looking for Sammy. He wasn't at the table. He wasn't under the table. He was on the floor, dancing with a dream.
Tell me more about your experiences, Samuel. I could go on listening to you all night.
Thanks, honey. Well, look, there was the time when the police commissioner himself, he asked me to see him, like to get some advice from me, see, me knowing what I do. Well, look, I told him what he wanted to know real quick, snapping out the words in my usual way, and then he said...
Scram.
Well, Kendall...
Shut up.
All right. I beg your pardon, Kendall.
Blow, Sammy.
Now, I ain't used to being talked... You don't have to pinch like that. I'm going, all right.
May I?
Well, I can't dance by myself, so why not? Why'd you have to break that up?
Oh, he's too short for you.
He's very amusing. I was having a lot of fun with him. Larry.
That saves me an introduction. Now, if you tell me your name...
Please don't insult my intelligence. I know my way around. I know that Sam is a shadower. It's obvious that you hired him. Now, where do we go from there?
Okay, so we're in the open, Millie.
Your move?
I like the moves I'm making right now.
You're flattening the petals of my corsage.
That's lovely corsage. In fact...
Thank you.
It's my pleasure.
I adore compliments, but some other time, eh?
Business, huh?
If you don't mind.
Okay. You were seen going into Herbie's department store. A fur coat disappeared. I was hired by the management of the store to make discreet inquiries.
Suppose I told you that I haven't been to Herbie's in 2 or 3 months.
Well, then I'd say that the management made a woeful mistake.
You sure that's why you had him shadowing me?
Well, the manager of Herbie's signed the retainer check. Good-sized one, too. How about, you helping me spend some of it, huh?
I don't mind at all.
Fine.
But that doesn't mean I trust you.
Oh, a dame like you shouldn't trust anybody. Shall we go to the table?
All right.
We did some drinking. She had a start on me, naturally, having had to loosen Sammy the Sneak's tongue. After half an hour or so, Millie was getting silly.
Oh, it's been a wonderful night. First a little sneak artist, now a private detective.
Yeah, your company's improving all the time.
You know, I like you, even though you are a copper.
A private copper.
Yeah. I like you more all the time.
Great. The night's still young.
Take me home before it gets too old, huh?
There's a look in your eye, Millie.
Naturally. Come on, Larry.
So I paid the bill and we left. Outside, I looked for a cab.
Well, there's more chance of getting a cab down the street.
Okay.
Oh, hold my arm, Larry. I'm a bit dizzy.
Sure.
I better hold on to you tight.
Millie.
The guy had stepped out of the shadows. He was as big as a truck and twice as ugly.
Been waiting for you, Millie.
Meet Larry Kent.
Hi.
He's a private detective. You've heard of him, haven't you?
Yeah.
He hired Sammy the Sneak to follow me.
He did he?
Let go of my arm, Millie.
Hit him.
A pleasure.
hurt all over. I got up from the cold sidewalk, headed home. Without giving you the boring details, I finally got to bed. Next morning, at 9:30, I paid one of my rare voluntary visits to police headquarters. Along the corridor, down the steps, into the file room.
Kent,
Hi, Murray.
what are you doing down here?
A guy's face is etched into my mind. I want to see if there's a duplicate in your files.
Now, you're not even allowed in here.
Yeah, this was a real big guy. I've got an idea I'll find him.
Kent, you can't go through these files.
Yeah, I know I can't.
Come on, get out of here before you get me into trouble.
But Murray, you're supposed to be a friend of mine.
Sure, but this... well... Be quick about it.
I was. It took me 15 minutes to find the big guy's battered pan. Name? Gus Mastoid. 8 convictions that went right up the scale. 12 years behind bars. Habitat? The underworld jungle, with a preference for wine bars. So...
Wow. Ha! Buying me a drink, are you?
Yeah, that's right.
Charlie,
Huh?
a special. A double special.
Hi, Ty. And you, mate?
Small sherry, not the stuff you mix with paint. Nice, sort of place.
Yeah. Now, why'd you buy me a drink?
Well, you see...
It ain't because I'm beautiful. 'Cause I ain't.
Okay, I'll come straight to the point. I'm looking for a guy named Gus Mastoid.
Why?
What's the difference? I'm looking for it.
You know, cops don't buy drinks.
They don't offer, little presents like this, either. 2 quid.
I don't know that much about Gus Mastoid.
Well, what do you know?
Well, he spends most of his time these days at the Grenadier Arms, the saloon bar.
And that's where I was, 5 minutes later. The barmaid had a wise look on her face, drugstore hair piled high, and she wore a black satin dress, a size too small for a figure, but just right for her purposes.
What'll it be?
Middy.
Nice day?
Yeah, if it don't rain.
Just about murder you at the Tiv. Here's your beer.
Well, that's the only white collar I see in this joint.
Well, if you don't like it, you
But
can...
I do. Here, buy yourself some perfume with the change.
Huh? Oh. Thank you, sir. I'll put some more beer in your glass if you like.
No, this is fine.
Haven't seen you here before.
First trip.
Hope it isn't the last.
Her eyelids fluttered like awnings in a gale. She went to the cash register, made some change, dumped a handful of coins into a glory glass, took care of another customer, rumbled her way back.
Living close by?
Near enough. I, just got off a boat and I'm looking for a friend. Maybe you know him.
What's his name?
Gus Mastoid.
Gus! Oh, why,
You know him?
well, I've heard the name.
Oh. You figure I'm a cop, huh?
Not with that accent.
But you feel you should protect your customers, huh?
Well, barmaids are like that. But I'm not saying I know Gus.
No, you're not, but, would this make you say it?
A $5.
Yeah, Gus is a really good friend. It's worth a $5 to know where he is.
Well, I was never the kind to disappoint a guy when he's looking for his best friend. Slip it to me so nobody sees it.
There you are.
Thanks.
Well?
He lives on River Street. I know that because he sort of, invited me up for a cup of tea whenever I'm not doing anything.
Oh.
Of course, I didn't take the invitation. The girl has to watch her.
Yeah. What's the number of the house?
212.
Yeah,
I wanted it. This. Oh!
He went right back to the opposite wall. Shook his head. I stepped in. He stared at me for a few seconds.
You're Kent.
Uh-huh.
So you want to play?
He was a willing playmate. When he lacked in science, he made up for with enthusiasm. I did a lot of ducking. Saw an opening. I went for it. Sitting down, he shook his head again. Tried to get to his feet, but my foot was in the way.
Kick me, will you?
Yeah, my hands hurt.
I'll murder you.
A rabbit punch. This time, he just lay there. I looked around. Found some very interesting items. Gus was still out. There was a milk bottle on the table. So... Yeah, wipe the milk out of your eyes, Gus, and have a look at this.
Huh?
Letters. And these rolls of films. Very naughty films, Gus.
Give me that. I'll pull you apart.
You want the foot again, Gus?
Huh?
No? Fine.
What? What's your angle?
I want to protect a client. A client you and Millie Marshall are trying to blackmail. So I'd like you to write me a little letter, Gus.
Not me.
No? Well, let me read one of these letters. The ones you had ready for the post office. Dear Max, am sending you the hottest movies you ever did see. Careful the cops don't get wind of this. They're so hot that the carrying charge is 25 quid a go. Signed, Gus. Yeah, the cops would like this letter. And the others, Gus. Especially if the films went with them.
Well, what do you want?
Here's a pen. Here's a piece of paper.
Well, I won't write nothing.
Then I see the cops. With your record, Gus, it'd be mighty hard on you. Now, I'll give you 5 seconds. 1. Long Bay, Gus. 2. Maybe they'll declare you an habitual criminal. 3.
Oh, okay. What'll I write?
Dear Lucy Kelso, this is to inform you that I admit having tried to blackmail you.
Aye, not so fast.
I finally got the letter from him. In it, he admitted having tried blackmail, and he mentioned Millie Marshall as his accomplice. It was a letter that would send both he and Millie up for some time to come.
Now do you leave me alone?
Yeah. Yeah, so long, Gus.
Hey, those letters, the films.
Oh, they stay in my safe, Gus. In case you try something cute. I'll see you again, Gus.
Maybe we'll be in a dark alley. And then you dirty...
Cut! You wouldn't want to hear what he said. Not much later.
You!
Yeah! Now, don't ever try to close the door on a guy who used to sell insurance, honey. Now that I'm inside, I'll close it.
Get out of here.
Get out? Oh. Well, when you've got that beautiful mood music on the record player,
I'll scream.
then the cops would come.
That's just what I want.
But then they'd see this letter. Look at it closely, Millie. No, don't get too close. Yeah, as you can see, it's in Gus's handwriting, and he admits...
Or the double-crossing. Give me that.
Millie, don't snatch.
Give me it, Larry.
Oh, well. What a nice little automatic.
The letter. Or I'll take it after I drop you.
I wonder if you would press that trigger.
Take one step and you'll find out. Go on, Larry.
Well, I don't like the odds. Here you are.
Grab her, Kent.
Drop it, Millie. Drop it. That's the girl. Yeah. Here you are, Lucy. A letter for you.
Ah. Thanks, Kent.
Thank you, Lucy.
I'll get you for this, Kent. And I'll get back at you, too, you old... Aye. Old what, eh? Old what? Come on, old what? Stinker! Stinker! Cut this, love! No! Now, I'm giving you 3 seconds to change your opinion, love. I'm an old what, eh? You're a sweet old thing. Come on, a little more, a little more. And I think you're beautiful. Well, keep on thinking it. And if you so much as look at me crossways from now on, I'll give you a going over that'll make the Burns-Johnson fight look like a slow waltz. Out of my way, kid. I've got to catch a tram.
Life in Sydney is still the same these days. Lucy Kelso catches her trams or buses or trucks or cabs or anything that moves. Me?
Larry.
Yep. Life is still the same. Good night. The flagstone path was bordered by overgrown weeds. Once the garden of the estate must have been a showplace. Now it was a fenced-in jungle in the suburbs. The house was big, old-fashioned, needed a paint job. The iron door knocker was in the shape of a dragon's head. I lifted it, rapped.
Yes?
Larry Kent's the name. I got a phone call from a fellow named Dirt. Augustus Dirt.
Yes. Come in. Mr. Dirt's waiting for you in the cellar.
Cellar?
Yeah, that's where you had this mushrooms.
Mushrooms?
That's right, this way.
I followed the guy. He wore a butler's uniform that was at least 2 sizes too small. If it had been cut from a tent, it would still have been small. The guy was huge, with a pinhead set on tremendous shoulders. I looked around as he led me through the house. Paintings and statuettes worth a fortune were all over the place. There was dust, too, and a musty smell.
Is that you up there, Gilbert?
Yes, sir. Mr. Kent's here to see you.
Oh, good. Bring him down, Gilbert. Bring him down.
Yes, sir. After you, Mr. Kent.
Thanks. The cellar was full of upraised trays that looked like billiard tables. The trays were loaded with black earth in which mushrooms of all sizes were growing. Augustus Dirt wore a blue apron over a suit that had gone out of fashion in the 30s. He had a completely bald head, glittering little eyes, a receding chin, fat and wet-looking lips. He held out his hand, and I took it.
A pleasure to meet you, Mr. Kent. A pleasure indeed.
His hand felt like a wet mushroom. I dropped it. Told him it was a pleasure for me, too.
So glad you could come. So glad, Mr. Kent. And how do you like my little children, eh? Hmm?
The mushrooms, you mean?
Yes. Lovely, aren't they?
They seem to be growing in some sort of pattern.
Oh, yes. Well, must be neat, must be neat. Now, the reason for my contacting you, I have lost a very valuable article, Mr. Kent. Oh, very valuable indeed. Oh, yes. I would like your help in tracing the culprit who misappropriated this article.
What was it?
It was a genuine porcelain Napoleon clock, a round clock about 6 inches in diameter, bearing Napoleon's coat of arms in gold. A magnificent item. I had it sitting there on my work desk, and when the people left, it was gone.
People?
Yes, the girls and that photographer. Such strange people, don't you think, Mr. Dear me, you don't know them, do you? How silly of me. Well, you see, Mr. Kent, a few days ago, it was When was it, Hubert, when the photographs were taken?
Tuesday, sir.
Oh, yes, of course, Tuesday. I don't know where I'd be without Hubert. Now, where was I?
The Napoleon clock.
Oh, yes, indeed, yes. Magnificent piece of work. Oh, yes.
The people, who were here.
Yes, the people. Of course, we were talking about them, weren't we? Those 4 female models, Mr. Kent, and there was a photographer. They came from some magazine or other, I don't know. You see, I thought the magazine was going to take photographs of my mushrooms, and feeling proud, of course, I was very enthusiastic. But then, when I saw that they had the idea of 4 females, well, naturally, it was too late to do anything about it.
How long were they here?
About how long would you say, Hubert?
2 hours.
Precisely, yes. 2 hours it was.
And when they arrived, you had your Napoleon clock on the desk.
Oh, yes, indeed. Isn't that so, Hubert?
It was there, I saw it. But then minutes after they left, the clock was gone.
So you see, Mr. Kent, it must have been one of them.
Yeah. This is really a job for the cops, Mr. Bird.
The police? Oh, dear me, no. Detectives and inspectors touching my mushrooms? Oh, no. I have another way of dealing with the matter. Here, Mr. Kent, a sample photograph that was sent to me by the magazine.
The colored photo was taken from above the huge trays of mushrooms, probably from a table. There were 4 dames, each sitting on the edge of a tray, and each was wearing a bikini. A redhead, brunette, honey blonde, and a platinum blonde. Mushrooms were behind them, forming a neat pattern. But, of course, I wasn't looking too hard at the mushrooms.
The picture, Mr. Kent, was taken to celebrate Mushroom Week. A strange way to display mushrooms, if you ask me.
Do you know the names of the girls?
Oh, I know nothing whatever about them.
How about the photographer?
I have his name and address, Mr. Kent.
Shoot.
Shoot. How quaint.
His name is Edward Marks. He lives at flat 722 Monroe Street, Bondi.
And the name of the magazine that wanted this photograph?
Oh, dear me, I never found out. Hubert?
Sorry, sir. You spoke to the man from the magazine. I never saw him.
Of course, yes. I was alone in the house one day, and he came to ask about taking the picture. His name does slip my mind, I'm afraid. Is it important, Mr. Kent?
Well, probably not. Hey, you said you had your own way of dealing with this.
Oh, yes. I want you to investigate each of the 5 persons involved and then bring your report to me, a full report on each one of them. And if you're reasonably sure that one of them has the clock, well, I will leave the matter with my solicitors. Solicitors, Mr. Kent, know how to handle such matters. Fear of publicity and jail. Make a very potent weapon, eh?
Yeah. Well, suppose I come across the clock.
And now you just leave it where it is and tell me. I want your investigation to be as complete as possible, Mr. Kent. The nationality of the persons, odd little mannerisms and habits, everything you observe, in fact. As you know, Mr. Kent, the little things give away the secrets of the big things.
Yeah. Well, my fees, Mr. Bird,
Here now, there we are, a retainer of £100 and a bonus of 500 for your information if it leads to the return of my clock. Is that satisfactory?
Very. Can I have this photograph?
Oh.
You see, it'll help me identify the girls. I'll probably go to see a couple of them before I talk to the photographer.
Yes. Well, very well, Mr. Kent, very well. Now, I expect a report from you by tomorrow night at 6,
Well, it might take a little longer than that.
Heavens, I don't see why it should. What's more, I'm sure it won't. You're known as a very reliable investigator. Well, good day, Mr. Kent. Hubert, show Mr. Kent out.
Yes, sir.
I must spend more time with my mushrooms. You're growing well, aren't you?
Talk about characters. But his money wasn't in the least bit queer. So, a trip to an advertising man. A display of the photograph.
Yeah, I know the girls. That one's Fritzy. That one's,
Can you get me their addresses, Tom?
I think so, Larry. They work with the Golden Agency. Sit down a minute. I'll call up Abe Golden and tell him I'm thinking of using the girls.
10 minutes later, I had the names and addresses of the dames. It was 5:30. Good time to go calling on working girls. First one, Fritzie Hallman, an apartment house on Barker Road, Rose Bay.
Yeah?
Fritzie wore a tight silk wrapper. She was a brunette with a cleft in the chin. She was shaped like the girls I doodle on my desk blotter. Over-exaggerated, but nice.
Can I do something for you?
Yeah. My card.
Oh, private detective.
Uh-huh.
Oh, look, he said he wasn't married.
This is about a clock.
A clock?
Uh-huh. Owned by a guy named Augustus Dirt.
Oh, you mean that funny little mushroom man?
Who happens to be my client.
Oh, don't you think he looks like a mushroom himself? Honestly, I never laughed so much in all my life.
He thinks that one of you ladies stole his clock.
He's cuckoo.
He said the clock was there when you arrived and gone when you'd left.
And you're searching for it?
More or less.
Well, come on in, Mr. Kent, and have a look around.
I looked. Later.
Satisfied?
Yeah.
Well, don't forget Friday night.
I'll be waiting there, honey.
Bye for now, Larry.
I went. Next stop, Paddington. A skinny, dilapidated building on a narrow, dingy street. Long, dim hall. Door with the paint peeling off. Hardly the place you'd expect to find a model.
What is it?
Guy named Larry.
Who are you and what do you want?
I'm a private detective. I'd like to talk to you. The first dame, Fritzie Hallman, was a peach. This one was higher up the tree. Anna Lawson was a platinum blonde. Magnificent blue eyes with just the slightest slant to them. High cheekbones, full, perfectly shaped lips. The figure? Well, to follow the curves all at once, you needed split vision.
You say you're a private detective?
Yeah. Can I come in?
Surely.
Hey, you don't have to lock us. Well,
Do not move.
a Luger. Silencer, too. Look, you don't have to shoot a guy just because you stole a clock.
A clock?
A porcelain Napoleon clock. My client wants it back, no questions asked.
You're trying to trick me. You're one of them.
One of who?
They have sent you here after me.
Look, honey, you've got it all. Drop it. Now, I'll just souvenir this Luger if you don't mind. Use type silencer. Cute.
All right, now you can kill me.
That, honey, would be just about the last thing on my mind. You stole that clock, didn't you?
You seem serious about that.
That's right. You went to the house of a guy named Dirt a few days ago, correct?
Yes.
With 3 other models and a photographer with you. There was an expensive clock on Dirt's working desk.
And Dirt hired you to find this clock?
Yeah. What's so funny?
Oh, everything is funny, everything.
If you ask me, everything is slightly nutty. You pull a gun and now you laugh.
I mistook you for somebody else.
Yeah, maybe. Then again, you might be a good actress.
Oh, if you think I stole the clock, Mr.
Kent.
You are welcome to search my rooms, Mr. Kent.
I did. I wasn't as lucky as I'd been with Fritzie.
Now, if you're finished, I'll take my gun.
Yeah, sure. Here you are. You're not an Australian, are you, Anna?
That is my affair. Please go.
Incidentally, now that I know you won't shoot, here's the cartridge clip from that Luger. So long, sweetheart. Into my report went Anna Lawson, slight foreign accent, thinks nothing of pulling a gun and then laughing when you take it away from her. I needed a drink. So I had a couple of double scotches. Next stop, Munro Road, Bondi. Eddie Marks?
Yes, son?
Photographer?
Yeah.
Want to talk to you.
About what?
Women?
Come in.
Thanks. First, Eddie.
Here's what comes first.
It was the old sucker punch. The king hit. I sat on the floor, shook my head, saw Eddie coming at me with a paperweight. Eddie held the paperweight high.
Cop this.
Brought it down, I rolled. Eddie tripped over my knee. He was on his stomach. I chopped with the ham of my right hand across his neck. Just one little sound out of him, and that was all. I put the paperweight back on the table, frisked Eddie for a gun. No gun. Grabbed him by the scruff of the neck, pushed him into a chair. Used the water in a vase of flowers. Okay, Basher. Start talking. Come on.
Don't.
Why did you slug me?
Look, I can't afford to pay any more.
Pay? Why can't you afford to pay?
I borrowed to the hilt. You'll have to wait. I can't let you have any dough for at least a month.
I took out my wallet. Showed Eddie my license.
Larry Kent. But I thought...
I know what you thought. Blackmail is a little out of my line. Didn't anybody ever tell you that I hate crime?
Look, maybe you can help me, huh?
Yeah, later. Right now I'm on a case. If I do help you, it'll cost you 20 for taking that swing. I want to know about that job at Augustus Dirt's place the other day.
That mushroom cheesecake picture.
Yeah, my client's minus an expensive clock. He figures that you or one of the girls took it.
I don't know anything about any clock.
Look, you're being blackmailed. You need dough badly.
I didn't take any clock.
But tell me all you can about the assignment, Eddie.
Well, it was for Australian Candid magazine. Production manager, Bill Larrabee, gave me the job. I do freelance work for him. It was supposed to be for International Mushroom Week or something. You see, lots of magazines are sold in England.
Uh-huh. And who picked out the models?
Larrabee did. They're at his office in the Candid building. I picked them up in my car and took them out to the mushroom bloke's place.
Do you know any of the girls very well?
Not as well as I'd like to.
Do you think any of them would be the type to lift an expensive item?
Who knows what a woman's liable to do? If I understood women, I wouldn't be having blackmail trouble.
Okay, Eddie.
Look, about helping me.
You drop in at my office the day after tomorrow, huh?
All right, Kent.
What a case. A mushroom maniac with a tongue-tied butler, a brunette with ideas, a platinum blonde with a Luger, a photographer with troubles. What else could happen? Well, only one way to find out. Nina Barclay was the third dame on my list. 6th floor, the Wynyard Arms building.
Yeah? What is it, Sonny?
Miss Nina Barclay?
Sally Malone, and I'm all alone.
The perfume of her gin almost knocked me out. Sally's hair was mussed and her lipstick was on a little crooked.
What's your name, Sonny? Oh, Nina never told me about you.
Well, can I talk to you about Nina?
Sonny, you can talk to me about anything. I'm lonely. Come on in.
Thanks.
Have a look at the battlefield, huh?
There were 3 empty pint-sized gin bottles on the floor.
Knock 'em dead. Sally Malone. That's it. Tell you what. Let you and me start a real war.
Yeah, okay, but first, Nina Barclay.
Nina's out, I'm in. Can't you forget about Nina, Sonny boy?
Look, my interest in Nina is strictly impersonal. You didn't know she was a kleptomaniac, did you?
Oh, one of those people who've got disease for stealing things?
Yeah.
Oh, Nina's one of those, all right. You should see her collection of men. She's selfish. She won't even let me have them railways. Not that they're much good when she gets rid of them. They're always broke. I'll show you something. Come here. Come.
She took me to a wall closet, opened the door.
Look.
Mink.
And sable and beaver and fox. Me? I've got 3 inches of dyed rabbit around the collar of my winter coat. What's wrong with me?
You're drunk.
Oh, well, even when I'm sober. Haven't got any mink. Who cares? Come on, let's get up a collection of dead soldiers.
But I didn't. I sat her in a chair, and she collapsed.
Oh.
I left her there. She told me all I wanted to know. A dame like Nina, a mink and sable girl, would sniff at a porcelain clock. I went to the address of the fourth and last dame on the list, a bungalow at Seaforth.
Good evening.
Evening. Does Marcia Rawlings live here?
That's right, son. I'm her father. Come on in.
Oh, thanks.
Marcia's upstairs, powdering her nose. She won't be long. Oh, this darn pipe. You got a match?
Yeah, here's a box. Keep it.
Ah. Oh, it's the tobacco you get these days. It's wet. Now, what line of business you in?
Well, I'm a private investigator.
Oh, don't apologise. All businesses are all right, if there's money in them, eh?
Well,
How much do you get?
Well, it depends.
Well, what are your fees? Oh, you don't mind telling Marcia's father, do you? Well, come on.
£13 a day plus expenses.
Oh, not bad. If you can average 3 days a week or so. What do you average?
Look,
Don't worry, I won't tell the income tax people, eh? Oh, come on, son. How many days a week do you average?
About 5.
Oh, 5 times 13. Well, then on top of that, I reckon you can put at least a tenner from your expenses in your pocket. 75 a week, eh? Oh, that's all right.
Yeah.
Look, excuse me for being curious, son, but Marcia was keeping company with a real no-hoper. Now, I know how serious she is about you, so...
I think you've got it wrong, Mr. Rawlings.
Wrong?
Yeah, I've never met your daughter.
What are you doing here?
Well, I'm investigating a case.
What kind of a case?
An expensive clock has been stolen. I figured your daughter might
What? You calling my daughter a crook, are you?
Well,
I'll
now
have you know that I raised my daughter on strict principles. And now that she's a model, I watch her even closer than ever before. The idea of you coming to my house with your bodgy accent saying my daughter's a thief. Why,
Mr. Rawlings,
get out of here, get out. Or so help me, David, I'll bounce a chair off your skull.
I got out. Later, at a saloon bar, I wrote into my report on the case, Marcia Rawlings couldn't be a thief. Her father wouldn't let her. I went home. In 4 hours, I'd come up with so many nuts that I felt like a squirrel. Sat down with a bottle of scotch for company and had a look at the photograph. 4 dames in bikinis and a lot of mushrooms. Funny how the mushrooms were set in a pattern. Pattern looked almost like... Holy smokes. I got up, went out. A visit to a guy who looked at the photo, then another visit, this time to an address I got from the phone book. William Larrabee, production manager of Australian Candid magazine. Long talk with Larrabee, and then a third visit to the dark house where Augustus Dirt lived with Hubert and his mushrooms. Hubert, wearing a moth-eaten robe, let me in. Called Dirt.
I don't understand, Mr. Kent. Well, why call at this late hour, eh? Why?
Well, I figured you'd wanted my report as soon as possible.
What? Oh, yes, I did. Have you completed it so soon?
Uh-huh. Here it is.
Well, thank you, Mr. Kent.
But don't forget there's a bonus if my investigation leads to the recovery of your clock.
Oh, yes, bonus, yes, my word. Oh, you needn't worry about that, Mr. Kent. I'll be contacting you soon. Good night.
Next, a fast drive to Paddington. This time I awakened Anna Lawson, the platinum blonde with a slight accent, and the Luger.
Why are you here, sir? What do you want?
Now, you just listen to me, honey, and we'll both have some fun. 15 minutes later, I stepped behind a curtain. Anna Lawson went to the door.
Good evening. I'm terribly sorry I have to call this late, and don't attempt to close the door, my dear. Hubert is very good with that knife, aren't you, Hubert?
Yes, very good.
Come on in, Hubert, and be ready with that knife.
Yes.
You remember me, don't you, Anna? The photograph?
What do you want?
Nothing. Except peace of mind. You know about the code in that photograph, don't you? You must know. You have a slight foreign accent. That hair, of course, has been dyed. You didn't speak when the photograph was being taken because you thought I might notice the derivation of your accent. Russia.
What are you going to do?
Liquidate you in just a moment. But tell me, how did you, an escaped Russian, come to be amongst those models,
I'll tell you why, Mr. Dirt. I'm working for Australian security. We suspected you of being a foreign agent. When we learned you went to the Candid magazine and agreed to pay for a photograph of your mushrooms if it were printed in the magazine, I was sent as one of the models.
May I interrupt?
Kent?
Yeah. The pattern of your mushrooms made up a sort of dot and dash code. Tonight I spoke to Larrabee, production manager of the magazine. He told me that the photograph would not be printed, that it was withdrawn from the magazine by an order from Canberra. So I wrote up a lot of words on honor here, tipping you off that she might be an agent, and you know the rest. There was no clock, of course. That was just a dodge so I could ferret out information for you, right?
Yes, Mr. Kent. I learned, of course, that the photograph wouldn't be published, and I guessed that one of the 5 who came to my house was an agent, a very beautiful agent.
Thank you. Security is working on the code now, Mr. Dirt. We were going to arrest you later when we knew just what secret you were sending in that code.
But I figure it's better this way, Dirt.
Hubert, get him!
Yeah. The gleam of steel as Hubert raised his knife. I turned my gun on him. He let go of the knife just as I fired. The hilt of the knife hit my wrist. My gun fell. Dirt had me cold.
Here's your bonus, Kent.
I'm glad I returned that Luger, honey. Hubert was dead. Dirt lived to furnish the key to the code in exchange for deportation. But, sadly, then he died. Me? Well, I owed Anna Lawson my life, so...
You dance very well, Larry.
That's because you lead so well.
How far do you think I could lead you?
You know, there's such a lot you have to leave out when you're telling a story. Good night. I hate crime. I was standing on the GPO steps at the corner of Martin Place and George Street. It was a windy day, perfect for watching the dames go by. When I felt a gentle tug at my arm, I turned and looked into the biggest, bluest eyes I ever saw. But they were frightened eyes.
Mr. Larry Kent?
That's right.
Oh, I thought I recognized you.
We've never been introduced, have we?
No. I mean from your photos in the newspapers. I've just been to your office.
Business visit?
Yes. There's a lounge on the corner. We can talk there.
Well, what do you want to talk about?
The corpse.
That's always an interesting subject. So, we went up to the lounge, ordered, sipped at our drinks, and then I figured it was time to get around to our dead man. I asked her where he was.
In the living room of my flat.
How did he get there?
Well, I've no idea.
Sure he's dead?
Yes.
Ever seen him before?
No.
Well, why didn't you call the cops?
Well, I wanted advice first.
Finish your drink and we'll see what has to be done.
I don't think I want any more.
She looked as though nothing would go down. If you've ever seen anybody getting seasick, you know what I mean. We went to my car. As I drove along, she told me her name was Cleo Lane and that she ran a travel agency in town. She lived at Koala Flats, 23 Ralston Street, Rose Bay. It was a poshy joint with 2 flats on each of 3 floors.
Would you go in first?
Okay.
He's just over...
What's the matter?
He's gone.
We looked all over the joint. Under the bed, in her wardrobe, the cupboards, the other rooms. Every place but under the carpet.
But the body was just there. Less than an hour ago.
You said you were sure he was dead.
Yes.
What made you sure?
There was blood all over his back.
Then there should be some blood on your carpet.
Wait. There was a small throw rug. He was lying on that.
Where is it?
But it's gone, too.
Huh.
You don't believe me?
Listen, sweetheart, was all this a trick to get me up here?
A trick? You think I... Of all the colossal egoism. There's the door, Mr. Kent.
Okay. So it wasn't a trick.
Would you kindly phone the police, Mr. Kent?
I did. Getting on to my old pal, Inspector Daniels. When he arrived, he listened to Cleo's story. Skepticism showing over every inch of his ugly pan. But, like a dutiful little public servant, he scribbled down the particulars on a notepad.
Now, Miss Lane, a description of the corpse.
Well, it wore a blue suit.
Did you get a look at his face?
I could only see half his face. I'd say he had been very good looking.
Age?
About 40.
Height?
Rather tall, I'd say.
6 feet?
Perhaps. It was hard to tell from his position.
Anything else?
I'm sorry, Inspector, no.
One more thing. Are you quite sure you saw this dead man, Miss Lane?
Inspector, if you think I suffer from hallucinations or delirium tremens...
All right. I just thought I'd ask. We'll investigate and see if a man answering to this description is missing. If anything develops, we'll get in touch with you.
Thank you, Inspector.
Good morning, Miss Lane. See you later, Kent.
Yeah, Inspector.
Well, Mr. Kent?
You want me to go, too?
I wouldn't want to keep you here under false pretenses.
Look, I'm sorry about what I implied.
It's quite all right.
No, but it isn't. I'd like to make up for it.
How do you intend doing that?
By asking you to go out with me. Will you?
If I accepted, you'd probably think I invented the story of the body for that reason.
I wouldn't care if you did.
Oh, look, there was a body. And if you believed your own publicity, you'd try to find out more about it.
What do you mean, my publicity?
Well, that slogan of yours, I hate crime. Well, a crime's been committed.
Now, hold on, gorgeous. I'm taking your word for it. I'll follow it up if you give me half a chance.
That's different.
Do you know the guy who lives next door to you?
Not very well. His name is Marks.
Yeah, I saw that beneath his doorbell. Leo Marks. What does he do for a living?
I don't know.
Well, if he's the same Leo Marks I've heard about, he's the business manager of a nightclub, the Blue Angel. If he is, will you go there with me?
All right.
Later, by means of a discreet phone call, I found out I had the right Leo Marks. So, at 8 that night, I picked up Cleo.
You're right on time.
If I'd known what I was going to see, I'd have been there earlier. She wore an evening gown that looked like it had been grafted on. Color was back in her face, most of it natural, just a bit of lipstick and powder at it. Absolutely nothing else was artificial.
Ready to go?
I snapped myself out of my daze and escorted Cleo to the car. Then I drove to the Blue Angel. For a minute I thought I was in the wrong place. The girl in the check room was new, so was the cigarette girl, the waiters, even the band. We got a table, ordered, started to dance. We danced some more.
I hope you're not forgetting about the body, Larry.
How can I?
I mean the dead one.
That's what I thought you meant.
Larry!
What's up?
That man by the door.
The tall one?
Yes.
That's George Randall, owner of the place.
His face.
What about it?
It's the face of the corpse.
Corpses don't come to life and walk around nightclubs, even though some of the patrons may look like zombies. I got Cleo to sit down, poured a drink into her to stop her shaking, and then I caught Randall's eye, inviting him over with a nod. He accepted with a smile, held up one finger, and walked over to a man at the cloakroom counter.
That's Mr. Marks he's talking to.
And he's looking towards us.
Does Mr. Marks know you?
He should. I've been here often enough.
Here comes Mr. Randall.
Hello, Mr. Kent. Everything satisfactory?
Yes, thanks. I'd like you to meet Miss Cleo Lane.
How do you do, Miss Lane? I hope you're having a nice time.
I am, thank you.
Good.
Oh, won't you join us?
If you allow me to buy a drink.
That's the general idea. He ordered a round and gave out with the small talk. There was a V-shaped scar just above the right corner of his lip. I'd noticed that scar once or twice before, but it hadn't been quite so livid. It might have been the weather. Sometimes the scar shows up more when there's rain coming. A doctor told me that once. Randall stayed at our table for 10 minutes or so and was then called somewhere else. At midnight, I took Cleo home. Still say he resembles the dead guy you saw in your living room?
Yes. You must think I'm a psychopathic case.
No, but Randall is certainly no corpse.
But I could swear he was the man I saw.
I'm not doubting you, Cleo. Now, here's the situation. You find a dead guy in your apartment. An hour or so later, he's gone. The character next door to you works in a nightclub. The owner of a nightclub looks like the corpse.
Doesn't make sense.
No. And that's why we're not taking any chances. As soon as we get to your place, you're going to pack.
Pack?
Yep. Then I'm taking you to a certain hotel.
Why?
Because I like you, Cleo, and I want to make sure you'll be around for a while. I felt better after I took Cleo to a hotel. The peck she planted on my cheek told me she appreciated my help. It also told me I was making at least a little progress. I ordered her to sit tight and not to go to her office in the morning. Then I drove to my apartment and went to sleep with my .32 under the pillow. In the morning, I had a cup of coffee and a phone call. Larry Kent speaking.
Daniels here.
What's the good news, Inspector? You find that corpse yet?
Not the one that went for a walk. A new one.
New one?
Yeah. I want you out here at 23 Ralston Street right away.
23 Ralston? Who got it?
Leo Marks. Knifed in the back.
There was a cop on duty at the entrance to Koala Flats. He recognized me and waved me through. Upstairs in the hall, the first thing I noticed was a hole that had been cut in the thick glass on Cleo's front door. I asked Daniels about it.
The killer broke in there, too. Or Miss Lane made it look as though he did. Her body's not inside.
Thanks to my hunch.
You?
Yeah, I took her to a hotel for safety.
You know something, don't you, Kent?
About as much as you, and that's the truth.
Where's Miss Lane?
The Apex Residential Hotel.
I'll go and see her.
Oh, she'd like that. How did you find the body?
Mark's cleaner woman came at 8 in the morning, let herself in, and went screaming down the street. Fellow across the road phoned us.
Uh-huh. Can I go now?
Where to?
Looking for information.
If you get some, you'll pass it on to me, won't you?
Why, Inspector? Don't I always cooperate?
On your way, Yank.
I went to a dirty little building in a section of the city that the Chamber of Commerce doesn't want to know about.
Larry Kent.
Hi, Bluey.
There. Come on in. Like, something on your mind?
Yeah. George Randall, owner of the Blue Angel.
What about him?
That's what I want you to tell me, as much as you can find out.
Well, it might be hard, you know, 'cause he ain't never been the sociable type, you know.
Yeah, but he got rid of his whole staff at the Blue Angel. One of the old staff might like to talk.
They probably won't be able to say much even so. Still, I can try, I suppose, for, like a little, little...
Yeah, here. A $5.
It won't get me very far.
It'll get you far enough. I'll be in my office at 4. Ring me there.
Okay.
When I left, I drove out to the Apex Hotel. Cleo was waiting for me.
Inspector Daniels was here.
I know.
Mr. Marks is dead.
Yeah. Probably because he knew too much.
About what?
The missing corpse.
Inspector Daniels told me that my flat was broken into last night.
Uh-huh.
If you hadn't brought me here...
We wouldn't be talking.
Thank you, Larry.
A pleasure.
You're nice.
You're not so bad yourself. You, sure you didn't kiss that corpse? That'd bring anybody to life.
Sit down.
Yeah, I could use a chair.
How long do I have to stay here?
I don't know yet. Have you left the hotel for any reason?
No. I've taken my meals here.
Good. Keep it that way.
You're taking such good care of me.
Like I said, I want you to be around for a while.
Just a while?
A long while. I've got to go now.
So soon?
Have to. I'm expecting some information.
Take care of yourself. I want you to be around for a while, too.
A couple of minutes later, I went to my car. When I got to the office, it was 3:30. I spent the next hour thinking. When you look at a puzzle, you try to figure out all the angles from the evidence on hand. Then you reject the impossible and keep the possible, no matter how fantastic it may seem. That's what I did until 4. Larry Kent.
Larry here.
What did you get?
Saw Billy Brennan.
The old bouncer from the Blue Angel.
Yeah. Here's what he told me. A week ago, Marks gave him a few bricks and told him they wasn't using the bouncer no more. But that's a lie. Because Billy says they got another bloke called Paul.
Do I know him?
I don't think so. He's new. Hanks is Randall's bodyguard, and he's always somewhere close by.
Uh-huh.
Hey, wait a minute. He's something else.
Yeah?
He's a dummy. He can't talk, can't hear, but reads lips.
Well, that's interesting. But didn't you get anything about Randall himself?
Only this. He comes from no one knows where, and he's got to Sydney 3 years ago. And he doesn't have a friend in the world. That's all, kid.
Thanks, Bluey. No friends. No one knew where he came from. And a scar near his lip that suddenly grew more noticeable. Little things like that told a lot when added to other things. I went to see Inspector Daniels and told him a story. He liked it. Then I waited till 8 o'clock and went to the Blue Angel. Randall made an appearance at 8:30. I threw him a signal and he cruised over.
Yes, Mr. Kent.
Evening.
Is everything satisfactory?
Yep. But I'd like to have a talk with you, Mr. Randall.
Very well.
Alone.
My office?
Okay.
It's just over there.
Too bad about your business manager, wasn't it?
Yes. Oh, poor Leo. He was a big help to me. Yeah, here we are. After you, Mr. Kent.
Thanks.
Now, what is it you wanted?
Remember when I called you over to my table the other night?
Yes.
Why did you talk to Marks before you came over?
There was something I had to tell him.
You mean you asked him who I was?
That's a foolish thing for you to say. I've known you for years.
I don't think you do. And I don't think you're George Randall.
Why don't you?
That scar.
This? I've had it since I was a kid.
George Randall may have had it that long, but the scar on your face is no more than 6 months old.
That's quite right. And this is a gun, Mr. Kent.
Yeah. I recognize it.
Stand up and turn around.
Okay.
Here we are. A 32. Nice weapon. Pity I must get rid of it.
Like you got rid of Randall, huh?
Yes. Incidentally, my name is Randall, too. Peter Randall.
His brother.
Twin brother. Oh, this is Paul. I summoned him by pressing that buzzer.
He stared at Randall's lips because he was reading them. This was Randall's bodyguard, the dummy. Paul smiled and kept looking.
We will take care of Mr. Kent in a moment, Paul. Show him your sharp little knife. Pretty, isn't it, Mr. Kent?
He knifed your brother.
Yes, he's quite good at that. You see, my brother was supposed to be calling on Marks. But Paul was waiting in the hall. He did the job. Then, because he isn't very intelligent, placed the body in the wrong flat.
And you discovered the error.
Yes.
Why did you kill Marks?
Well, he helped me with my scheme to impersonate my brother. For a large sum of money, of course. He heard me practicing George's voice, saw me cut my face so I'd have George's scar, and he helped arrange George's death. In short, he knew too much. He was dangerous to me.
Cleo Lane could have been dangerous, too.
Yes, but she was not at home when Paul visited her last night. However, we will see to her later. Shall we go?
If you say so.
Paul. Paul. He's looking at you, Mr. Kent. That's right, Paul. Look at my lips. Now hold the point of your knife at Mr. Kent's back. Good. If he tries anything, give a little push, eh? Do you understand? Fine. I will open the back door now, and then you will walk ahead of me. We will go to the car.
He closed the door and bolted it quickly. No wonder the back alley was full of cops.
The other door. Drop it, Randall.
As Inspector Daniels entered with 3 men behind him, Randall froze. But Paul wasn't looking in that direction. His eyes were on a spot on my anatomy, and the knife was ready to come down. He posed like a statue, a very surprised-looking statue. He didn't hear the gun, but he felt the bullet burn, and he went down like a Californian redwood. And there you have it. Randall told his story and would undoubtedly get his neck stretched. Me? I made a phone call.
Larry?
Hiya, kid. You can come out of hiding now.
It's all over.
Uh-huh. You can go back to your apartment.
Will you come and get me?
Sure. I'll be at the hotel in 15 minutes.
Can't you make it sooner?
There was something in her voice that got me there in 7 minutes flat. Huh. Funny life, this. You hurry, 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 and then you take your time. Good night. I hate crime. A case I'd been on, quite a case, had taken me to the spot where a dog sits on that thing you call a tucker box. I left Gundagai late after sundown for Sydney. I'd bounced through Bookham, headed for Yass, when my headlights lamped on a figure lying on the highway. It was a dame, stretched out cold. I nearly broke an ankle in a pothole getting to the body.
Help me! Help!
Don't move! She was young, full of curves as the Hume Highway, but no potholes. Her eyes matched the night, dark. But there were no stars, only fear.
Please help me.
Where's it hurt?
I...
Legs busted? Let me feel. Hey!
Take your hands off me.
But
Take them off.
You been swiped by a hit and run?
It's my sister.
Car knock her, too?
No, she won't wake up. It was the soup.
Look, Miss...
Lynn Laurel. Oh, please help me.
Hey, what's your angle, babe?
I had to lie on the road. It was the only way I could make you stop. Oh, please, hurry.
Why me? Other cars have driven along here tonight.
They wouldn't stop. They thought I was a gypsy.
What is this?
Oh, please. It's Lorna, my sister.
Yeah, she won't wake up.
I tried.
Listen, sweetheart, maybe I'm tired. Maybe I'm not ticking over too well. Get in my car. I've got a slug of scotch.
But don't you understand?
Nope.
But they've got her. They've got her, I tell you. She's up there all alone.
Sure. Get in. Have a cigarette.
Oh, there isn't time.
Your act's slipping. Try some of this. Go on, it'll help you remember your lines. Too fast.
I'm all right now.
Now let's work on it, huh? How come you stretched out like that?
I had to make someone stop. It was the only way I could think of.
Why?
Oh, please. You've got to find her. You've got to get her out.
Sister Lorna.
Yes.
You had a row, she tossed you out of the car, drove on?
No. We took a detour, then went to bed. She was drugged, I wasn't.
Are you sure you didn't fall out of a car?
I was driving.
Sure.
Look, I must get to the police. Yes.
Ah, the cops. Well, maybe this'll break up your game. Take a look.
What? Larry Kent, private investigator.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
That's my license.
Then please help me, Mr. Kent.
Take it easy. Have some more medicine.
But don't just sit there. Do something.
What say you turn back to the first page and start there, huh?
Lorna and I were driving back to Sydney from Melbourne. We have our own car.
What make?
New Buick.
Uh-huh.
About 2 miles on from here,
we suddenly came to a sign stretched right across the road. It said detour, and an arrow pointed to the left.
So?
You know how they're always trying to repair the highway. We didn't think it unusual. We'd followed lots before.
Yeah?
We followed this one. It led off into a terribly rocky track. It ended in one of those farm guest houses.
And?
Well, we were tired. We decided to stay till morning. Had something to eat. Was shown our room. We went to bed. Lorna fell asleep straight away. Then I remembered I hadn't locked the car. I went out to find it.
Then?
I couldn't. It wasn't there. It had gone. I went back to Lorna.
And she'd vamoosed in a cloud of blue smoke.
No, I couldn't wake her. I shook her and shook her.
A long drive, a few snorts on the way.
Oh, it wasn't that. It was then I knew the soup had been drugged. You see, I don't like soup. Lorna had mine.
Greedy.
I got dressed, slipped out of the house, and ran for my life.
Oh, sure.
Don't you believe me now?
Come on, Lynn. I've been around. What's your angle? What's your little racket?
But
Does a husband come screaming up with phony cops, try to pin a snatch and assault charge on me? I pay out to avoid scandal?
Oh, please, Larry, I've told you the truth.
Your story's all cockeyed. You need more practice before you pull it off.
Why won't you believe me? I tell you, there was that sign, that detour. And we did drive to the farmhouse. Our car did disappear. Lorna was drugged.
Oh, no. Now, look, sweetheart.
I've just remembered.
Yeah, you just remembered where you left your car.
The mechanic.
Ah.
We needed more petrol. We woke up a garage at Bookham. He opened the pump and served us.
You know what? A guy did just that for me back in Gundagai.
When I went looking for the car, I heard his voice, talking to the woman in the farmhouse.
Well, maybe he wanted to buy some fried chicken.
Yes, I remember now. I heard him say he could change the engine number, but the woman said it was going in the burren chuck.
Out.
What did you say?
Out.
But...
Out. Mechanics, gypsies, Mickey Finn soups, dames, and detours. Now that...
Oh, Larry.
Nuts. Catch some other sucker.
Oh, please. Please, I can prove it.
Yeah?
That detour sign. It can't be more than 2 miles away. At least drive me back to it.
I said okay, started the car, and drove slowly. If the dame was trying to pull a stunt, then it was a new one on me. The speedo showed 1.25 miles when she suddenly grabbed my arm and pointed. I stopped and looked.
See? There it is.
No detour sign.
Oh, why, no, it's gone.
No.
But see, the track we took, the detour, I remember it. A stretch of dirt, then the rocky part.
So what?
The farmhouse. It's only about 1/2 mile down there. Oh, please. Now you've come this far.
So we were off again. My jalopy bounced and jerked over the rocks. Undergrowth autographed the Duco. I figured the track hadn't been used for years. Then it stopped. So did I. In the headlights.
There's the house.
Sure.
Oh, come on. Please, Larry. The woman's name is Mrs. Kirby. Oh, hurry.
I followed, curious now to see the end of her screwy stunt. Lynn Laurel went up to the front door. I expected to be run off the joint by a shotgun, but the old dame who opened the door was a fine stand-in.
Yeah?
I've come back, Mrs. Kirby.
Back? Who are you? What do you want?
I want my sister and our car.
What are you talking about, young lady?
It's no use pretending, Mrs. Kirby.
Kirby? I'm not Mrs. Kirby. My name's O'Connor.
Let me get my sister.
Young man, what's the meaning of this?
I guess that was my cue. I showed the old shotgun my credentials. Something flashed in her eyes, but her voice was still a blast.
I don't understand. A young woman, this hour of the night, coming here with a private detective? Calling me by a strange name?
Seen her before?
Is that a joke?
She thinks she and her sister checked in here for the night. They drove in, then she couldn't find her car.
This is a farm, not a boarding house.
Mrs. Kirby, let me get past.
You don't need me, Mr. Kent. You need a doctor.
You know a mechanic works in Bookham?
Of course I do.
There, I told you.
Was he here tonight?
Well, what's wrong with that? He's my kid brother. Often comes over on his motorbike. Any law against it?
Lynn, maybe you could describe the room you were in, huh?
It was at the far end of a passage. On the right. Had a window in the middle of the far wall. A double bed, a brass bed, patchwork quilt.
All this is crazy, ridiculous.
And a kangaroo skin rug on the floor. There was one of those old-fashioned washstands next to a big wardrobe.
Okay, Lynn. Relax. Mrs.
O'Connor.
Would you mind? Kind of quick look?
If I hadn't once been a nurse in a mental asylum, you've got to humour cases like this.
Yeah.
I'm not mad.
Then show me the room you talk about.
It's down that passage.
All right. But be quiet. My husband's asleep.
He's got a white moustache. No collar to his shirt, an unbuttoned waistcoat.
Young lady.
There's the room.
Do you mind?
Go ahead. If it'll do any good. It's only a spare room.
My sister's in there.
Okay, open up. Go get her.
I'll hold the lamp up for you, miss.
Well?
This is the room. The same room.
Yet?
But it isn't.
Uh-huh. What's the payoff?
Where's the bed gone? That brass bedstead.
Yes. I've seen lots of cases like this.
Where's the wardrobe? The floor rug? And where's Lorna? Lorna! Lorna, where are you? Where are you?
Take it easy.
She's an escaped lunatic.
Yeah.
No, you all think I'm mad, but I'm not. This is the house. We did come here. We did come to this room. We did. Where's my sister? Where is she?
Relax.
Lorna! Lorna! Oh, what have they done to you? What have they done? Where are you? Lorna, where are you?
She's getting violent.
Keep away. Keep away from me, Lorna! Lorna!
Lynn, I gotta do it to you, babe. I'd come across some screwy dames in my time, but this Lynn Laurel hit the jackpot. I had to slap her plenty before she snapped out of her hysterics. I backed her from the farmhouse, apologized to the old shotgun, and got to the car.
You think I'm hysterical, don't you, Larry?
Oh, no, not hysterical, babe, just nuts.
You're going on to Yes?
Sure.
Take me.
Well, I gotta take you someplace.
Then take me to the police station there.
Now, wait a minute.
Drop me there.
They'll lock you up.
They'll believe me.
Believe me, the cops aren't dumb.
Please take me to Yes.
Okay, you're heading for a straitjacket on the ice cure.
And please hurry.
I drove back along the rocky track to the Hume Highway, gave the jalopy the gas. For once, I rode with a dame with only one object in mind, to drop her fast. We rolled into Yes, pulled up. The cop house was sleeping on the other side of the street.
Now you'll see how real police work.
Now listen, babe.
Don't babe me.
Babe, for the last time. What's the angle? What's the payoff?
So, you don't think I'm insane?
I said...
And I said our car's been stolen and my sister drugged.
Yeah, you went over that plenty.
That woman was lying. She's no more Mrs. O'Connor than I am.
Come over to the post office.
I'm going to the police.
Look, you're a nice looker.
Thanks.
I'd hate to see you locked up as a nut.
I thought you Americans were smart.
Listen, Lynn, I hate crime. If I really thought...
Thought? That's all you've done. Thought. I'm telling lies.
I'll prove it.
Uncle Sam's bright boy.
Yeah. That's why I'll prove it in that post office. If there's a Mrs. Kirby in the district, it'll be on the electoral rolls.
Well, yes. Yes, so it will.
The post office was closed and dark, but I beat a bolero on the side door. A light bleared. Then the door unlocked. The dame that opened it lacked only a broomstick.
What is it? What is it? Can't you see that we're closed for the night? What?
Is the postmaster around?
You're talking to his mistress. I'm the postmistress here.
I'm sorry to get you up.
What?
Please, could we see the electoral rolls?
At this time of night?
Yeah.
It's most important.
Come back in the morning at 10. What?
Sorry.
Take your foot out of my door.
We won't be a minute.
Do you want me to call the police? What?
Yes.
No.
Ah, drunk. You've been imbibing the wines of ruin.
The electoral rolls, ma'am.
Don't ma'am me. What?
It's a matter of life and death.
Fiddlesticks.
Oh, please.
What?
The lady said please.
I can hear.
Then listen, we want to see the electoral roll.
You're mad. No elections coming on?
Do you know Mrs. Kirby lives off the main highway back about 15 miles?
Kirby? Kirby? No such name in this district.
But there is. There must be.
What? Young lady, let me tell you, I've been born and bred in this district. I know everybody. There's no Kirby.
There's got to be.
There's no Kirby on the electoral rolls.
How do you know?
What? I'll show you.
She did. No Kirby. But there was a Mrs. O'Connor. We went back to the car.
I can't understand it.
Lynn, you sure you didn't have a smash, a knock on the head?
I'm beginning to wonder. Yet, where's Lorna? Our car? We do live in Sydney, so what am I doing way out here?
Well, I'd get you like that sometime. Maybe you were taking a vacation around about... had a blackout.
We'd been to Melbourne. Look, see this pearl necklace?
Yeah. They're no phonies.
Both Lorna and I bought a string. They cost us £250 each.
Say, that's a lot of dough to decorate a neck.
Larry, do you think that mechanic, the one in Bookham, saw the pearls, our new card, telephoned Mrs. Kirby, and she put up that detour sign?
Len, I thought you were over your brainstorm.
But I told you I heard his voice in the farmhouse. She admitted he'd been there. Said he often rode out on his motorbike.
Uh-huh.
And there's only one track into the place.
Some ride over those rocks.
But not over that soft dirt part leading off the highway.
It's only a few yards.
Yes. Larry? There were no wheel marks.
All rocks. That's why the track looked as though it had never taken traffic.
Larry, there were no wheel marks over that dirt part.
Well, I'll be a monkey's uncle.
He have been there. The woman said so, and I heard him. If he rode his bike, who wiped out the wheel marks?
I spun the car round, headed back along the highway. We nearly missed the turnoff. This time I parked on the main road. Killed the engine. Lights. Made sure my gun was loose in the shoulder holster. Dug out a flash.
There are our tracks. Your car, I mean. Only yours. Going in and coming out.
That dirt had been swept level. Only my car's double track showed. Nothing else. I circled through the bush. My shins made the contact.
What is it?
Your detour sign. Shoved out of sight.
Why, yes. That's it. Now do you believe me?
Come on. It's beginning to click. This time we didn't advertise our arrival. We walked. Couple of times we lost the track. Then the farmhouse loomed up. Dark on 3 sides. On the 4th...
Larry.
Yeah. A light. I guess it must be in a cellar of some kind.
What can we do?
Anything but make a noise. I'm taking a peek. We inched up to the cobweb window. It opened into a half-underground room. I could see the old dame, an old guy with a white mustache, no collar, open waistcoat. Lynn's story began to match. Someone else stepped into the room.
That's it. The mechanic.
Look in the far right corner.
Lorna. Oh, Larry, what have they done to her?
I've seen chickens trussed up like that for frying.
No.
Look. Seems like they're beating their gums about something.
Larry, the old man. He's got an iron bar. Larry, he's going to hit Lorna.
Time for playing Peeping Tom was over. I pulled out my .38, smashed the window. Took a snapshot of the old boy. Look out, Lynn! The mechanic had his get out and spitting. My 3rd shot plugged him. He joined the old geezer on the floor. I went in.
Lorna!
She's still onto it, kid.
Larry! There's the bed, the furniture from the room.
Where's the... Lynn, stay here. The old dame's hightailed.
She's taken his gun.
I pussyfooted it up the stairs into the dark house. Listened. The old witch was playing hard to get. My knees bumped a chair. Had a stretch, I could think of easier ways of spending a night, but the dame was a killer. I found the door. Opened it. Not quiet enough. The slug went between me and the door jamb. She'd made the open air. I felt like some myself. Then I stopped. The silence wasn't nice. I should have found and fixed a getaway car, but I hadn't, so I did the next best thing, slammed a new clip into my .38.
And that was her racket, Larry.
Yeah. Yeah, she was in cahoots with that mechanic. When he spotted a likely car, someone with good dough or jewelry like your pearls, he phoned on ahead.
And she'd put up the detour sign. Pretend she ran a farm guest house.
Uh-huh. Back in the States, we call them murder farms.
Oh, horrible. But, Larry, what did they do with the cars? Sell them?
No, they were satisfied with the dough and the jewelry on their victims. They dumped them and the cars into that Burr-something dam.
Baron Jack.
Yeah. It was about a mile through the bush from their property. The cops dredged up enough cars and bodies to swing them all high.
Oh. And to think that...
Don't.
Oh, Larry.
Huh?
Larry, I never paid you for finding my sister.
No, that's right.
Well, what's your fee, Larry? Money's no object.
When you're flush with folding money yourself at the time, and a dame says that to you, what would you say? Yeah. Me too. Good night. I hate crime. I was sitting in my office, time on my hands, bills on my desk. The guy who walked in had perspiration streaming down his face. He didn't bother to close the door, just stumbled over to me like a marathon runner reaching the tape. He put his fist on the desk and then opened it. There was a smooth stone in the center of his palm.
Keep this.
What is it?
Very important. Guard it for me.
Why?
No time to talk. Money here. Come back to you later.
He turned around and left. I counted the money he'd pushed at me. 26 pounds. Then I looked at the smooth piece of stone. It was oval-shaped, about the size of a duck egg. There was a word engraved on it. Vittorio. I put it in my pocket. I didn't try to figure it out. I just waited. Nothing happened till the next day. Larry Kent, private investigation.
The man who gave you this stone.
Oh? What happens next?
I want this stone.
Sure. Come up to my office.
I cannot.
Why not?
I would rather see you somewhere else.
Okay. Name it.
There is a coffee shop near your building. The Checker Cafe.
Yeah, I know it well.
Can I see you there in 5 minutes?
All right. I was sitting down with a cup of coffee before me when I spotted the guy. He turned sharply off the sidewalk and started through the doorway. Then he stopped short. He shivered like he had a cold. There was a surprised look on his face. When he turned, the reason for his shivering and surprise stuck way out of his back. It was a knife. I pushed my way through the crowd. There was an old guy already near the body. He had a little black bag beside him.
I am a doctor. Please stand back.
Is he dead, Doc?
There's a slight pulse. What would you carry him to the back room?
A few of the others lifted the body, but I knew he was as good as dead. The knife went deep and must have pierced his heart. It could have been thrown from someone passing by on the sidewalk. I took one look at the swarming lunch-hour crowd and gave it up. Then, I phoned the cops and went to the back room. The doctor was already gone. The dead man's clothes had been all but ripped from his body. I felt in my pocket. The little stone was there. And I wondered if that was what the fake doctor had been looking for. Later, at headquarters, there were questions.
So, you were just sitting there when a man walked in and was murdered.
That's right, Inspector.
You never saw the man before.
Nope.
You were just having a cup of coffee.
Yep.
You sure?
Uh-huh.
From experience, I know there's no sense in asking you any more questions, but...
Yeah?
Get out of here!
I went. Maybe, as you might be figuring, I was wrong in not playing with the cops, but what could they find out about a little piece of stone with Victorio written on it? Maybe I wouldn't be able to find out anything either, but there was that little doctor who'd seen my face. If he was looking for the stone, he might come looking for me. In fact, I was expecting him. But I wasn't expecting the guy who came to my office the next day.
Larry Kent?
That's right.
My credentials.
William Goodwin, Security Police.
Want to talk to you about Vincetti.
Vincetti? Who's he?
He went to see you at the Checker Cafe yesterday.
I didn't see anybody there.
Somebody put a knife in his back before he reached you.
Oh, that guy. So Vincetti was his name, huh?
You knew that.
I didn't. Cross my heart.
Don't play around. This is big stuff.
Then why not tell me about it?
There was a certain article Vincetti was carrying.
What kind of an article?
A stone with a word on it.
Oh. What was the word?
That's what security wants to find out.
Why?
I'm not permitted to tell you. But you know what it is, don't you?
I haven't got the glimmer of an idea.
He came to see you.
How do you know?
We've got ways of finding out.
You're on the wrong track, Goodwin. Vince said he didn't give me anything.
You'll be in trouble if you don't cooperate.
I don't know a thing.
You'll tell or...
Oh, yeah. Oh! Reach for that gun again and I'll blow you in half with this one.
You've let yourself in for a lot of grief.
Hit the road. Show up again and I'll really get tough.
You'll be hearing from us.
I pushed him out. He wasn't from security, I knew that. Security agents don't show credentials to private eyes. Why didn't I turn him over to the cops? Well, how could I without spilling the story of the stone? So, I waited. 2 days passed without anything interesting happening. On the third night, I was at the Canary Club. She walked into the place. She spoke to the head waiter, who looked at a table near mine and led her over. Then she ordered, lighted a cigarette, and glanced up into my eyes. She smiled. It was a friendly smile. When she didn't turn away, I walked over. Evening.
Good evening.
The management doesn't like table hopping unless the parties are acquainted, so if I'm not wanted, will you just smile and let it go at that?
Sit down, won't you?
That's even better. Alone?
Mm-hmm. And you?
Ditto. The name's Larry Kent.
Mine is Wanda Norris.
Dance? Wanda?
Love too. Larry.
So, we danced. We danced some more. After 3 hours of dancing and talk loaded heavily with promise, she decided it was time to go bye-bye. So, we went out to the parking lot.
Lovely night.
Yeah,
What's wrong, Larry?
I've got a headache.
I'll give you something for it. At my place.
Okay, I can't keep my eyes open. Awful drowsy.
Where's your car?
Right here.
Give me the keys. I'll drive if you're not feeling well.
All right. Thanks. I got into the car, and then she followed. I lay back on the seat.
Larry. Are you asleep, Larry? Sleep well.
"20 minutes later, she pulled to a stop on a dirt road. As far as I could make out, we were somewhere between the Spit and DY. She sat there beside me, probably looking into my face. Then she left the car. In a few minutes, she was back, and there was somebody with her. Somebody I knew. The man who said he was from security.
Sleeping like a baby.
You should be. I slipped a double dose of powder in his drink.
I think I'll take care of him now.
Must you?
He knows about the stone.
But we might get him to tell us where it is.
If he's got it, we'll find it either on him, in his flat, or in his office later.
One of my eyes was half open. I saw the bulky nozzle of a revolver moving upwards, a silence gun. He was bringing it in line with his eyes so he could take careful aim. But my gun had been in my lap. He went down and Wanda was standing there, her eyes like saucers.
You're not...
No, I'm not drugged. I dumped that drink into a potted palm.
You knew all the time.
That you were a decoy, I guessed it. But now you're going to tell me a lot more because you're going to talk.
I don't know anything.
Inside, we can hold a powwow.
I was just doing as I was told. I didn't think it'd go as far as murder.
You're in this up to your soft, beautiful neck.
No, I swear. I only...
The shot whistled past. I hit the ground. I saw the second flash from behind a tree. There were no more flashes, but... Oh.
This time he will go to sleep.
It was probably only minutes after Wanda slugged me when I came to. She'd used a rock. I found it nearby. Then I looked at Goodwin. Dead. I crossed over to the other fellow, the one near the tree. Ditto. I was just starting to search his pockets when I heard a motorcycle roaring along the road. It was a cop apparently investigating the shots. I ran behind the house, and when he spotted Goodwin's body, I hit the road. On the main highway, about half a mile away, I was lucky enough to catch a bus to Wynyard. Why didn't I stay there with the cop? Brother, the explaining I would have had to do would have kept me at headquarters for a week. I knew I'd have to go there sooner or later, but there was a job first, a waiting job. But the night passed and nobody approached my apartment. It happened the next morning in my office. Larry Kent speaking.
Hello. This is Wanda.
No kidding.
Sorry I had to use a rock on your head last night.
Why didn't you crack my skull?
Because I have more brains than Goodwin had. I searched your pockets. The stone wasn't on you.
No, sir. I put it in a very safe place.
Undoubtedly. Now listen. That stone means nothing to you.
It evidently means a lot to you.
I'll give you £500 for it.
Huh. A good main eventer at the stadium gets that much for fighting one man, and knives and guns aren't allowed. Besides, how about the wear and tear on my car?
You can have your car back, too.
Oh, thanks.
And £1,000 for the stone. That's the highest price I can offer.
Where do I deliver?
At Rushcutter's Bay Park, where you can feel nice and safe.
When?
In, say, 20 minutes.
Say, 2 hours.
Why that long?
Because it'll be during lunch hour and there'll be people eating in the park. I like lots of people around me.
You needn't worry. This is a straight-out business deal. Goodbye.
So long. I moved quickly. A friend of mine had a rock garden, rocks of all shapes and sizes. I stole one that was almost a twin of the real stone. Then I took the new one to an engraver in a city arcade. He printed Victoria on it for me. Then, right on time, I was at the park. Wanda was sitting on a bench looking as pretty and as innocent as a junior typist.
Your car is just over there, Larry.
Thanks. How about the do-re-mi, huh?
How about the stone?
Sure. Here.
Thank you.
The dough.
Here. In £5 notes.
Are they real?
Yes. Every one of them. Well, it's been a pleasure.
Hold it.
Don't try anything. I have a gun in my purse.
I just want you to drive my car back and forth a few times.
What?
I want you to drive my car. There might be a booby trap in it. You and your playmates have such a sweet sense of humor.
We wouldn't be so crude.
We?
Never mind. I'll drive your car. If you stay at least 10 feet away.
I watched while she went back and forth with my car. Then she stopped and climbed out the opposite door.
Goodbye, Larry.
She walked away. When she was out of sight, I drove to the office. I didn't have the slightest idea what would happen next. At 5 o'clock, I put on my hat and started from the office.
Close the door gently, if you please.
If I do, will you promise not to stick me with that knife?
Close the door.
I hope this is gentle enough.
It will do.
Now what?
I wanted a stone.
I gave it to your girlfriend, Wanda.
It was the wrong one.
Well, it was the only one I had.
After a talk with us, you may remember that you have another one. Start walking, please.
Stairway?
Lift.
Okay.
Press the button.
Sure. We're lucky. It was on the floor below.
Walk to the back of the lift, so I can watch you.
Careful, aren't you?
More careful than the others were. Now press the basement button. We can leave from there. And keep your finger on the button. I do not want the lift to stop on any other floor.
Right. The floors started flashing by. Near the basement button was the one marked emergency stop. My thumb was inches away from it. 4 floors down, and I pushed my thumb.
Huh?
He went back against the wall, but he still had the knife. I brought the heel of my shoe down on his wrist. It cost him a broken wrist. I grabbed him by the throat with my left hand. With my right hand, I pressed the top floor button. There'll be other parts of you hurting before we're through, unless you tell me a few things.
Never.
You'll change your mind. I half dragged him into my office where I flattened him against the wall. Where's Wanda?
Find her.
Where is she? Spill it or I close my fist. Okay, greaseball. Either he had a glass jaw or I'd hit him too hard. He was out. So I went through his pockets. Talk about luck. He was carrying a passport. His name was Tony Manello, and he came from Naples. Huh. His occupation was interesting. He was a carnival operator. I trussed him up snugly, gagged him, and hung him on a hook in the built-in cupboard. Then I went looking for carnivals. After hours of fiddling, I found there were only 2 in the Sydney area. One was at Palm Beach. I went. Threw baseballs at toy dolls, won a plaster puppy worth about 2 cents, and gave it to a kid with a running nose. I saw nothing interesting, and so I went to the second carnival. It was at Paddington. It was a bigger affair than the first. There were chocolate wheels, a merry-go-round, a few other joyrides, and some sideshows.
They're the reason why men leave home. Come up and watch them dance, folks. Come up and see them. 3 beauties who escaped from the harem of Abdullah, the Mad Sultan. 3 gorgeous, pulsating beauties who were the Sultan's favorites. Come in and see them do the secret dance to the 7 bells for only 1 shilling. A bell at a time. It works out to the penny of ale, or 2pence if you like it. There's the ticket box, above and knob. Don't rush it. There's seats for all.
I'd spotted the 3 beauties before they snaked their way inside the tent. One was short and fat, the other was thin and long, and the third, just right. They all wore veils, but once I dance with a dame, I don't forget her figure. That third one was Wanda. I went inside, but only 2 of them were dancing. So I left and skirted around the rear of the tent. I lifted a flap and walked in. There was a sort of a dressing room, and Wanda.
What are you doing here?
You knew I was here. Come on, sweetheart. I don't like mysteries when they drag too far. We're going to the cops.
You're mistaken.
I don't think so.
I do.
I turned and caught the flash of a flying knife blade. Oh, my right arm was pinned to Wanda's dressing table.
Do not try to use the left or you get the second knife.
The little doctor who looked at Vincetti's body.
Where's the stone?
You're pretty good with knives, aren't you?
The stone?
I gave it to Wanda.
You didn't have what we wanted inside, so produce the real one, or you get the knife inside you.
You'll have to come along with me. The fella I gave it to won't hand it to anybody else.
He's lying, Renault.
That's it.
She started. When she was close enough, I took a chance and pulled at my right arm. Flesh tore, but the knife came out, and I grabbed it with my left arm tight. Renault was dancing around trying to get a clean shot. I moved around with him, struggling to get my right hand between Wanda and myself. Finally, I reached the .32 in my holster. Renault went down with a sore leg. I pushed Wanda away. Renault was trying to get up. He changed his mind. And Wanda, she just looked at me and said,
You...
There was so much left unsaid. In the meantime, a crowd had gathered, plus a cop. Later, at headquarters, after my arm was stitched, another cop picked up the stone where I'd left it in my landlady's flower pot. We discovered that the stone came in 2 pieces, had been cunningly stuck together with special cement and smoothed over. Fitting snugly inside was a crucifix, set with 1 huge diamond and 3 rubies. The story behind it? Vincetti, the guy who came to see me, had stolen the crucifix in Italy. Then a stonemason put it inside the stone, engraved it, but talked when Vincetti left for Australia. He talked to Renault and Manello, who followed, joined a carnival in Fremantle, hired Goodwin, another thug, and Wanda, and finally located Vincetti a few months later. When Vincetti came to me, Renault had just missed sticking a knife in him. Later, he didn't miss. You know the rest. My arm? It's fine. I tried it out the next day. Around a blonde. Good night. Coffee lounge. A brunette. The coffee was good. The brunette, Mary, was tall, shapely, and easy to get along with. We were talking about inconsequential things.
I wonder if there'll be another war.
And the guy entered the joint. He stood in the doorway, blotting out the street. Looked around, saw me, blinked, came to the table.
Hi, Kent.
Hi, Mike. Cup of coffee? Yeah. Well, it's been nice seeing you. Now, as I was saying, Mary...
Kent.
Huh?
Nick.
Well, what about Nick?
He wants to see you.
Okay. Tell him to go along to my office.
Now. He wants to see you now.
Look, I'm having some coffee later when I'm finished, maybe.
Come on, Kent.
Hey. You're rumpling the sleeve of my coat.
Get on your feet.
Mike, I don't like to be ordered
Come
around.
on.
Okay. Up I go, and down you go.
Oh, Mr. Kent, please, my furniture, man. Nice to new furniture.
Oh, you want me to take you to Nick the hard way, huh? Okay, Kent, get ready for it.
I'm waiting.
Here it comes.
You shouldn't have put a stamp on it. Have a jab and a right. I like you, Mike. You go down so easy. Hey, you getting up again, Mike?
Oh, not this time.
Yeah, it gets monotonous, doesn't it? Up and down, up and down.
There'll be another time.
Sure, Mike. It's always a pleasure.
There's something you forgot, Ken.
Oh? What's that?
When he wants Nick Stroller, it can be tough.
Maybe he'll decide to get tough with you.
You tell Nick that if he wants to see me and his business is legitimate, all he's got to do is come to my office, okay?
Yeah, I tell him that. But maybe he won't like it.
Good worker, Mr. Kent. You did not hurt none of my nice new furniture.
Well, you can show your appreciation by getting us some fresh coffee, Louis.
Oh, sure thing, Mr. Kent. I go get it.
Gosh, Larry, that was a quick fight.
Well, I can't take much credit. Mike throws his punches in slow motion.
He seemed anxious to take you to that man named Nick.
Yeah, Nick Stroller.
You know, I've heard that name somewhere.
Nick runs a gambling ship.
Oh, that's right. There was a story about him and his yacht in one of the Sunday papers.
Yeah.
I wonder what he wants to see you about.
Well, whatever it is, honey, it's trouble. Nick's that kind of a guy. Three hours later, in my office... Larry Kent, Private Investigation.
Larry. How are you, Larry? Nick Stroller here.
Oh.
Mike. Larry, you should see Mike. I never saw a black eye like it.
I'm sorry about that, Nick, but
I
Mike...
understand, Larry, I understand. You're the kind of bloke who doesn't like to be pushed around.
Yeah, that's right, Nick.
My fault. I should have picked a better way of getting in touch with you, Larry. Listen, Larry, I'm in trouble.
Oh?
I want that you should come up to my flat, Larry, and have a nice, long talk with me. Now, how about that, Larry?
Nick, what kind of trouble?
Well, I'll tell you when you get here. Oh, don't worry. I'll make it worth your while. You don't have to worry about that. You'll come, won't you, Larry? Right away.
Okay, Nick.
That's my boy. You know where I live. Biltmore Arms, Darlinghurst, top floor. The whole top floor is mine, Larry. When will I see you?
As soon as I get there, Nick.
Good. I'll be waiting for you. So long, Larry.
20 minutes later, I entered the Biltmore Arms building, took the elevator to the top floor. In front of me was an ivory door with a gold-plated buzzer. As I reached for the buzzer...
Come in, Ken.
Oh, thanks, Mike. Where's Nick? Well...
Hello?
She had honey blonde hair, lovely ankles, and in between, 5.5 feet of beautifully developed territory.
This is Lydia Wilson, Ken.
Hi, Lydia.
You're the private detective who's going to help Nick, aren't you?
Well, I wasn't sure, but the odds are now heavily in favor of it.
Ken.
Yeah?
Lydia is Nick's girlfriend.
I was looking at Lydia as Mike said it. Her eyes narrowed. An expression of annoyance crossed her face. Then she was smiling again.
Fiancé is the word, Mike.
Oh, yeah. Okay, Kent. Nick's waiting for you in his office.
Lead on, Mike.
This way.
We went for a hike across thick carpet. The place was furnished expensively, but without very much taste. Mike stopped in front of an oak door.
Come in.
Kent to see you, Mr. Stroller.
Ah, Larry, come in.
Thanks.
That'll be all, Mike.
Right.
Good to see you again, Larry. No, real good.
I took Nick's plump pink hand. Nick was a little fat boy with a hooked nose, tiny eyes, fuzzy bits of brownish fluff for hair.
Sit down, Larry. Have a seat.
Thanks.
You want something? Help yourself from the cabinet next to you.
Right, Nick, let's get to the point. Now, what's bothering you?
Somebody wants to kill me, Larry.
Oh.
Twice they had to go. My car in the garage downstairs. One day it blew up.
No kidding.
Yeah, it just blew up with nobody even near it. There was a bomb inside. Whoever put the bomb in the car made a mistake in the wiring. Lucky for me, of course.
Yeah.
Then the other day, Mike and I are looking in the jewelry store window. We felt something go past us. We looked at the plate glass window, and there's a perfect little bullet hole. As we looked, another hole appeared in the window. Naturally, we just run as fast as we can.
Yeah, naturally. Have you gone to the police, Nick?
Oh, the police?
Mm-hmm.
Me go to the police? Don't be silly. But you, Larry, are different. I've got a proposition for you.
Yeah?
Now, listen. I will give you £300 a week for 3 weeks to guard me right around the clock.
Yeah, but you've got Mike, haven't you?
Mike? Well, Mike is loyal, but he's a dunderhead, a schnook. Look what you did to him this morning.
Nick, why do you want protection for only 3 weeks?
Oh, because my gambling yacht is now being repaired. In 3 weeks it will be ready.
For what?
A trip. I'm going to South America to get away from the man who was trying to kill me.
Uh-huh. You must have some idea who this man is, huh?
None whatsoever. Not even the slightest idea. And I don't care who he is. Mm-hmm. All I want to do is get away from here alive.
I tell you what, make it an even 1,000, Nick.
All right. 1,000 pounds.
Oh, where do I stay?
Why, here, with Mike and me. I have a nice room for you, Larry. I feel so much better with you here, Larry. Oh, so much better.
A week passed. During that week, I became very interested in Lydia. Though she did her best to hide the fact, she was a very unhappy girl. She had an apartment a block away, no relatives.
Just Nick. Dear, generous Nick.
You don't like him, do you?
Why should I answer that? You're his bodyguard. How do I know how far I can trust you?
And she'd walk away. As for guarding Nick, it was the easiest work I'd ever done. He hardly left the house. When he did, nothing happened, which suited me right down to the ground. If it hadn't been for Lydia, I'd have been perfectly happy, but she worried me. There were times when I'd catch her looking at me. She'd start to say something, bite her lower lip, and turn away. One afternoon, while Mike was out and Nick was in his room having his hair cut and his nails manicured...
Larry, I've got to talk to someone.
Sure, talk.
Not here. My own place.
Oh, now, Nick wouldn't...
Oh, hang Nick.
Yeah, you've really got something eating away at you, haven't you?
Yes. Come to my apartment, Larry, please.
Honey, when Mike gets back, I'll ask Nick to give me a couple of hours off.
I'll be waiting. Larry, come in. Well, Larry, why don't you say something?
Later. Come here.
Larry.
The whole thing had been set up. That was obvious. The music, the filmy thing she wore, the way she looked at me, the heavy perfume she was using. One thing I hadn't been prepared for. The hunger. The real hunger in her kisses.
Larry.
Easy. You burst a blood vessel.
I've yearned for this and didn't even know it. Oh, Larry, you don't know how tortured I've been.
What made you become Nick's girl?
Usual reasons, I suppose. Security.
Are you going to break away from Nick, or will you make the trip with him?
He hasn't asked me.
And if he does?
I don't know. I'm confused.
You said you wanted to talk to me.
Well, we're talking, Larry.
Yeah, you led me to believe that you had something important to say.
Well, isn't this important? You and I, being together.
You're either a screwball or... I think I'll go back to Nick.
Larry, can't you stay a
sorry, honey. There are things about you that I can't figure out. And when it's that way, you're better off leaving a dame. So long. After a couple of minutes of pressing the gold-plated buzzer, I took out my skeleton keys. Well, there was a reason for Mike not answering the door. He was lying on the couch with a knife in his chest. I walked past Mike's body, went to Nick's office. Nick was lying on his stomach. A small automatic lay on the floor near his outstretched hand. A gun had been used on Nick. There were at least 4 slugs in him. Well, I thought, there goes my 1,000 pounds. My second thought was, call the cops. So I went to the living room and was reaching for the phone when...
Kent.
Sergeant Morgan.
Well.
Yeah, well.
Hey, Sarge. The bloke on the couch. Look.
They entered the room, went over to Mike's body. Detective Sergeant Morgan and Detective Slim Warner, both of homicide. Morgan had a quick look, turned to me.
What happened, Kent?
You know, I was just about to ask you the same question.
Well, I'll ask the questions if you don't mind.
Well, first answer one for me, Morgan, will you?
Go ahead.
How come you're here?
We received a phone tip. Some shots were fired.
When did you get the tip?
Only a couple of minutes ago.
Uh-huh. Dame?
No, bloke. That's 3 questions I've answered. You're way past your quota.
Yeah. Yeah, believe it or not, Morgan, I was going to phone you boys just as you opened the door.
I'll reserve judgment on that.
Hey, Sarge, this bloke's got a knife in him. That doesn't explain the shots.
Oh, you'll go a long way, son. That's really clever deduction.
Huh? Give out, Kent.
You'll find Nick in his office.
Watch Kent, Slim.
Right, Sarge.
A few minutes later, Morgan was back. He had a pencil in the barrel of a .38 revolver to keep his prints off the gun.
This was under Nick's desk.
But, Sarge, that...
He was shot dead. Ah. Kent?
Yeah?
What kind of a gun do you use?
Why, a .38.
Like this one?
Yeah. But mine's in my holster.
Get it, Slim.
Right.
Morgan, you're not charging me with murder, are you?
Let's say I'm taking you to headquarters for questioning.
Get up, Kent.
Take it easy, boy. I'm getting...
Yeah, it's a .38, all right, Sergeant.
Put it in your pocket.
Right.
I'll phone for the boys, then we'll go to headquarters. Sit down, Kent.
Thanks.
You can leave us alone, Cassidy.
Right, sir.
Now for a heart-to-heart talk, Kent.
Yeah, I could make a crack.
Go ahead.
Forget it. What's on your mind, Morgan?
2 bodies, 2 murders.
So?
We got word through our fizz gigs a few days ago that you were working for Nick Stroller.
Uh-huh.
That's a bit out of your usual line, isn't it?
Dough is dough.
Nick intended skipping the country in his yacht 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, I know.
For weeks, Nick's solicitors have been selling his properties. Nick must have had quite a lot of cash in the flat.
Maybe he did.
But we can't find it. Our experts have gone over every square inch of that flat.
You don't think I've got any of the money, do you, Morgan?
No.
Then why this low-pressure cross-examination?
Because Morgan homicide. Yeah? Uh-huh. Thanks. Kent, this case has got me puzzled. Really puzzled.
Seems to me that phone call added to your puzzlement.
Yeah. That was from the fingerprint department. That gun I found under Nick's desk, it has your prints on it.
You're kidding.
No, Kent.
Well, this is some schoolboy detective trick you're trying to pull on me.
They're your prints. You know I don't pull smart little tricks, Kent. That's not how I operate.
Well, I can't figure... Yes, I can. I haven't been to my apartment for a week. I always keep a spare 38 there.
Yeah, that checks.
Huh?
I sent a man over to your flat. He didn't find a gun there, yet your license for 2. Also, your door showed signs of being jimmied open.
Wait a minute. Let's get this straight. Somebody stole that extra gun?
I'll go along with you on that. And if somebody did steal your extra
There's
gun...
only one reason. To frame me for the killing.
Check. Now, the big question, why?
To divert suspicion from the real murderer.
Or, murderess, Kent?
Oh, I guess you know about Lydia Wilson, huh?
We're not done. We've been checking on Nick Stroller for a long time now. We know that his car was blown to bits by a bomb. He didn't report the explosion to us, but you can't hide things like that. Naturally, the checks we made on Nick brought the girls to our attention.
Have you checked on her background?
Well, no, we had no reason to, till now. I sent a couple of men to get her, Kent. She's being held in one of the offices downstairs.
Good. Morgan, correct me if I'm wrong, but the impression I've got is that you want to play ball with me and vice versa.
That's right, Kent.
Then maybe you'll listen to an idea I've got.
Go right ahead.
First of all, I'll need some light recording equipment.
Can do.
Secondly, I'd like you to hold Lydia Wilson here for another couple of hours.
I think I get it, but keep talking.
I did. I told Sergeant Morgan exactly what was on my mind. When I was finished, he grinned.
That's exactly the same idea I had, Kent.
So we got started on it. 15 minutes later, I left police headquarters in a private car. A plainclothes man was driving. I had 2 suitcases with me. He left me off near Lydia's apartment buildings. I used the side entrance, walked up the fire steps to her floor. Her door lock was an easy skeleton key job. Inside, I hid the recording equipment and set it up. Then I looked around. What did I expect to find? A lot of dough, maybe. Nick Stroller's dough. But I didn't. The only article of interest I did find was a photograph. A photograph of a curly-haired, handsome guy. Scrolled across the lower right-hand corner was, "All my love to you, Lydia, Joe, 1954. I sat down and waited. Finally... Hi.
Oh, Larry.
I flicked the little button that started the recording equipment moving.
Locked doors don't seem to mean much to you, Larry.
Well, I wanted to see you.
The police were questioning me.
Yeah, they talked to me, too.
They told me that you found the bodies.
Yeah. You don't seem broken up.
Over Nick?
Yeah, but he was a good meal ticket.
I couldn't stand him touching me anymore.
Is that why you arranged to have him killed?
You're not serious, are you?
You had somebody bust into my apartment and steal my extra gun, figuring my prints would be on it. Then you arranged to have me come here while your friend, or friends, knocked off Mike and Nick. After my gun was used on Nick, it was tossed under his desk, and the killer wore gloves.
You're wrong.
I can even name the guy working with you. Joe.
Joe?
Yeah, he's a good-looking guy, Lydia.
You found the photograph?
Yeah, here it is. But I knew about Joe before I found the photo.
You're lying, Larry. You can't make me say I had anything to do with those murders because I didn't. When I asked you to come here that day, I was going to tell you how I felt about Nick. How I couldn't stand the sight or feel of him. That I was going to run away. But then I didn't know how far I could trust you.
File away the stories, honey. I'm in a position to really hurt you. But I'll forget about gabbing to the cops if you cut me a nice slice of Nick Stroller's money.
I don't know anything about any money. Can't you get it through your head that I don't have the slightest idea of who killed Nick?
Well, I'll give you 5 minutes to make up your mind, honey. If you don't want to play ball with me, I'll go straight to the cops, tell them about Joe, and give them my opinion of what happened.
I don't care what you do. And as for Joe, You don't know what you're talking about.
She sat down, lit a cigarette, said nothing. Neither did I. But I was thinking, wondering what bluff I could try next. The 5 minutes were almost up when... Well. Now who can that be?
I haven't the slightest idea.
Whoever it is, let him in. And listen, honey. I'll be holding this gun, and I'll be standing behind those drapes. Now, don't try anything cute, huh?
Get in.
The guy pushed Lydia into the room. There was a gun in his hand.
I fixed everything nicely, didn't I, sweet dear Lydia?
Joe, it was you?
Yes, me. Oh, I was clever, my sweet. I watched you and Nick Stroller, and then that Larry Kent. Yes, watched and planned. I broke into Kent's apartment, found an extra gun. Then I waited my chance. The big fellow I knifed so that Nick wouldn't be disturbed by shots. And then back to Nick's office I went. But the gun didn't seem to frighten him as much as my face. My face. Look into my face, Lydia.
No. Help me, Larry.
What? Drop the gun, Joe.
Oh, no, I'll kill you too, Kent.
The slug got him in the shoulder, spun him around. Call the cops, Lydia.
Yes.
Oh, wait. I want you to understand what happened, Kent.
I think I do.
Lydia and I were engaged. And then a year ago, I was in a car accident. Glass in my face, flames. Did this to me. Left me without a face. She couldn't even look at me when they took the bandages off.
Joe.
She ran away, screaming. And I had to lay there for weeks. All I could think of was revenge.
So you tried to frame me for the murder?
Yeah, I thought she was falling for you. But it didn't work, so... Hey!
Joe!
This is the best way.
Ah! 5 stories down.
Yeah. Joe, poor twisted Joe, had a room in Paddington. There the cops found the money he'd taken from Nick Stroller. The first 2 attempts on Nick's life, well, we're assuming that Joe was responsible for them. And that's about it. Sorry, but somehow I've got nothing bright to say. So, good night.